Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all having a wonderful night tonight. We do, in fact, have Alex here with us. I
Howdy,
think so.
everybody.
Before we get going, I think when I did the poll on a couple days ago, Friday, Saturday timeframe, something like that, I think it was 91%, 92% said that Alex wouldn't show up. But here is Alex. Why don't you go ahead and how's your evening going so far?
It's going pretty good. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for giving me the ability to share everything. Um, Unfortunately, there is ongoing litigation, and it's not because I don't want to say anything and set this record straight for everything, but I just have been advised by my attorney to not say anything. But I do want to come on because when everything is cleared up, I give you my word and I give the promise to everyone. I will give the entirety of the story. That way, it's the record set straight and everything is there. But for right now, I can't talk about anything.
Yeah, so about about an hour ago or so, you gave me a call and said
Yeah.
you're still coming on, which is great, but
Yes.
you can't talk about the specifics because there is an active
Unfortunately.
legal case, and you were talking with your lawyers, and they said
Yeah.
basically not to tell anything. But I advise you, you know this. I advise you still should come on, show your face, so that
Yeah.
people know that they're dealing with a real person who didn't just run away.
I'm indeed a real
And
person.
I think that today we can get a little bit of backstory on you. So I think that's really all that we're going to do today. So it's not
Okay.
going to be the juicy interview that everybody was probably
I'm
hoping for,
sorry. I'm sorry.
because Alex is listening to his lawyers, right? Because there is active litigation going on, which is the wise thing to do, of course. Not as exciting, but it's the wise thing to do. That's
Yeah.
why you pay him. All right.
Yeah.
So why don't we I've heard a lot of different things about you, man. So why don't you start from the beginning?
Okay. Well, I guess tell me what you would like to know. Would you like to know about
Well,
the?
let's start with the very, very beginning. I've heard that
Okay.
you're from Africa, from different countries, that your dad's in the oil business or an ambassador, all sorts of fun things. Why don't you start
Nice.
with that?
Okay. Well, we'll make it really simple. I was born in the U.S. I was born in North Carolina, and I
Oh,
am half French and half African. Like that's a true statement. Yeah. My African side that people are curious about is a West African country. Um, I I guess I'll get into entrepreneurship. That's just kind of what I've been doing. I guess let me find a way to pull up the chat so I can see the people clowning me or saying something.
they're not happy. No, you can
Yeah,
expect they're not
I
happy
I can
right now.
assume people are like, "Fuck this kid." Give me 1 second.
Right. I know you're good. So you're born in the US though, because I did not hear that. I heard that you were born in Africa. That's the story I was told.
I am from Zimbabwe. No, I'm born in North Carolina.
Okay, North
Uh,
Carolina, interesting. And
yeah,
then mother and father, did they emigrate here, or how did that work?
they did indeed immigrate here. Yes, so my
Okay,
mom
gotcha.
immigrated and my dad immigrated, and they met here in the U.S. And that was my story. They ended up making me. One
Right.
second, I'm getting an ad. Give me 1 second. Okay. So yeah, I got like into business and I had my first ever project when I was about 9. And um, it was like my mom joined the military at 38. My parents divorced when I was younger. So I was raised by a single mom. Um, I lived pretty much everywhere. I lived in Korea, lived in Japan, lived in Germany. And my mom, like I had my first ever endeavor. I was a big Pokemon kid, so I love Pokemon cards and Pokemon games. When when I was 9, I wanted to buy like this game called Pokemon Black and White. My mom didn't want to buy it
Mhm.
for me. Funds were tight, so I had to figure out how I could start making money. I was just like, "Fuck, what do I do?" And Germany recycling laws are really strict, so I you know, came to do recycling. But what I did was I went online and I figured out, how do I make money? I looked at WikiHow and I ended up getting a bit of knowledge to do things that people don't like to do and make things easier for them. So I hated doing dishes, and my mom, always made me do them. So I went over to my neighbors directly next door in our apartment complex and said, "Hey, will you pay me to do your dishes?" And they told me to fuck off. That was straight up what happened.
That was your first experience.
Yeah, but I went back and I said, okay, about recycling, because in Germany, how it works is if you have plastic or if you throw all your recycling in a bag, you have to make sure it's all sorted correctly, right? So when you go to this big center, there's not like a trash pickup where you can just put stuff outside like the US. You go to a center and there's like massive shipping or like these massive like garbage bins, and you have to by hand pick everything out and throw them out. So I just started hitting up, and this is a military base. So I'm living on a military base, and I just started knocking on everyone's doors and taking out their garbage. And people didn't want to take that shit out, so I did it. And at the end of the week, I bought my Pokemon game in like 2 weeks. I was able to afford like a new Nintendo DS, and then I just kept going on for a while. And I found out about a little section called bulk. And I saw like a soldier take like a whole bag and just throw it in there, and not the guy at the recycling center didn't say anything about it. So I watched him, and I had my bag that was like half full. I was spending a lot of time after school doing this, and I just threw it in there, and the guy at the center didn't say anything. So then I found out that you could just throw everything in bulk, and the guy didn't care, and that was it. So I would just get all the trash and I'd just do it in bulk, and I'd collect the money, and I now had time to make money and go play with all my friends. And then some of my friends, I was in the 3rd grade at this time, I think. So I had some of my friends join in to do this with me. So then we became just dudes tossing out garbage, and that's how it worked. And
wait, so you guys were tossing out garbage, but not you weren't even following the rules though. You were like just taking it for money to fix or so that people didn't have to go through the trouble, and then you're just throwing it in the bulk section.
In the bulk section. So the funny thing about that was it was basically like the landfill option, but you weren't required to go through it. And after a while, they were just like, "Don't put it in there." So we just went back to sorting it out normally. But it went phenomenally. That was it. That was my first ever business, and I bought like a Nintendo
9 years
Wii
old.
and,
that's at 9 years old in Germany.
Yeah, I was 9 in Germany.
Because your mom was stationed there at the time?
Yeah, we were in an army base called Schweinfurt. It was means pig crossing in German, and that was it. Yeah, it was like a little town, and things were cool, and that was it. I then after that moved to Japan. Nothing was that interesting, and that was pretty much the gist of it. That was I didn't really.
So let's come back to the States. What time did you get back to the States?
So I moved back to the States 2014. I went to go live in Africa for a year. And then I moved back to the U.S. again in 2016 to Austin, and that's where I played out the rest of my life up until this point.
Right, and off and on, you've moved New York, other places, things like that.
I had a temporary time where I lived in New York for a bit, like after college and after my first like successful project, I moved over there, and that was then I came back.
Well, let's talk about education for a second. So, high school, college, where you at?
So I attended one semester of college at University of Texas the University of Texas, but I didn't make it very far. After my first semester, I was like, "Hey, I'm kind of like I'm broke. Like I've been poor my whole life, single mom. Like didn't have much money, so I was like, fuck, I'm gonna go into school and I'm gonna have a bunch of debt, and this is just gonna be like a stupid situation." So I was just like, okay, I've got $1,800, and this is going to go for college, or this is going to go for starting this company. And at the time, the Farm Bill just passed, and I didn't have the option to. Or the farm Bill just passed, but I didn't have the option to really like do anything. And I was thinking, how can I leverage this, right? So the Farm Bill in 2018 was a bill that passed all hemp. Right, so it made every derivative of hemp legal, and I was always like checking for laws because, I guess like you mentioned, I've been doing like drop shipping and selling products online since I was like 14. Right, so I had like online sites where I'd make websites and just sell things and run Facebook ads and do things like that. And I've been doing that since I was that age. So like the skill set that I had just kept transferring over. I was messing with ads and just doing funny stuff. But here's where the hemp bill comes in. So it allows every derivative except for THC, like or Delta 9, the schedule, the controlled substance, legal. Right. But what people didn't realize is that like a lot of those substances still give you the effects of THC outside of THC. So like Delta 9. So I sold a product called Delta 8. It's popular now. It's super popular in Texas smoke shops, and a lot of people, it had a lot of buzz. But I was the third company in Texas to do it, and I was just like a dude, living in my car at the time because I had to make an option. I was like, I either take this money and I join I signed up for my next semester of college, or I take this money and I start this company. And lo and behold, I was like, fuck it. I just got a car and I've got a dream. That was it. So I took the money. I bought the first products. It was December, so it was the beginning of Chinese New Year. I didn't have the opportunity to make anything happen at that time. So I would call China to get packaging and nothing. So I just ended up going to Pakistan, and they took a couple months or a month to get the packaging to me. So now it's February. I have a business partner, and that's where that money went. I started I didn't have
So
any.
at that point, are you guys just working out of like an apartment, basically?
So I'm actually sleeping in my car at this point. I'm just like I'm
Oh,
doing
really?
I'm doing everything to make this work. Because
Now, I have a kind of a backup question to that. So, your mother was in the military, long
yeah,
period of time.
yeah.
No GI Bill for you, so college wasn't paid for.
College was not paid for. There's no GI
Interesting. Okay.
Bill. I think in order to give the GI Bill to your children, I think there's a certain percentage. I think they either have to be active duty or they have to have a certain percentage disabled if they're retired. And at this point, my mom had retired,
Okay.
so I didn't have the GI Bill at the time because she
Mhm.
wasn't considered like. I think that there's different percentages of disability when it comes to the military and the VA. So if you're like, and you get different perks based on how disabled you are. So like if you're
Right. Yeah. My father-in-law, my wife is a military brat. So yeah, my
yeah
father-in-law is 100%, quote unquote, 100%
yeah
disabled through the military. So yeah, no, I get it. That's because he has a full GI Bill for his kids. So that's why I was
okay
curious.
yeah.
So
So once you get, I think after 100%, like they give you the full GI Bill and like a whole bunch of good benefits. But at the time, that wasn't the case for my mother, and I had to pay for college. But I was just like, nah, I think it'll be a good idea starting this company. So I sleep in my car and start making this work. And that's pretty much it. We after about 3 weeks of sleeping in my car, the partner that I was with, he like realized, he was just like, oh, you want to just sleep on my couch? Because relatively prideful. So I was just like, you know what? I'll just sleep on, I'll take it. I'll sleep on the couch. And by the time we got the packaging, I'd been calling as many people as I could. Like I didn't, I was 18 at the time. I didn't really know too much about what was going on. I was just like, hey, do you guys need products? I was driving to gas stations. It's like, hey, do you guys need these products? Do you? And after like a couple days, you know, from like speaking to one guy, he called me back and he says, hey, why don't you just go to the distributors, like the guys who distribute to everybody? I'm like, what
right.
is that? I didn't know what that was. So I have, I guess, I don't think it'll.
So, well, I guess this is going to tie into something later that we probably can't talk about, but I'm curious with the law thing. So you see a law change that gives people an inroad to a, kind of a business that's opening up, let's say kind of the
Yeah,
same thing with FRTs, which again, we're
sure,
probably not going to talk about much.
sure.
Do you, is that something that you hone in on because you think of that's an exploding business where I can make money really quick?
Are you saying with the law change
Well,
on
right,
the hemp
because as
business?
soon as the law is like an on-off switch, right? So as soon as it
Yeah,
goes on, you can move in there, right? And you're going to
correct.
have first come, first serve, basically, because that's a
Yeah,
new open market, right?
it is. Yeah, and that's like I've read a lot of books, or uh, I wouldn't say a lot of books, right? Like there's people who have incredible libraries, and I hope to have a really nice library by the time I'm a little older. But I've read enough books, not enough books. I've just read some books. But one of the guys who I like to read about is a guy named Sam Zell, and he was one of the biggest real estate investors ever. He sold his company for $40 billion to BlackRock. And a story that a lesson in the story that he gives is just selling vacuums, right? So during the time, the 80s and the 70s, he was buying properties in college towns where no one was, where the property was pretty not valuable, and he was running to get to college students. And he just kept getting loans after loans and just kept, buying and buying and buying, and he ended up getting a lot of that going. And after a while, he had become so big in this game that BlackRock was looking to acquire his portfolio for $40 billion, and he had one of the most successful real estate exits ever. And I like that. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts about founders. I like to read, get more knowledge. I learn from individuals where I think there's knowledge there. I'm a very open-minded individual. I like to keep the options open. And what I've learned about opportunities, do it fast and do it correctly. That's.
So would you say growing up you had like a lot of on the poorer side of things, right? Let's say.
Yeah, but in the military, everybody's poor. So you're just like
Mhm.
a nut. Like you're really like in like an echo chamber of we're all kind of like on the same level, right? Like it's no one's really
Sure.
that much broken
Well,
than it.
back in the States, though, you're living in your car, you're trying to make
Yeah,
businesses happen, that sort of thing. So you kind of seen like the underside of life, let's say, right?
I have indeed. Yeah, it's formative is learning. Everything is a learning experience, right? So I getting back to that, like when I like after I started staying and calling, making the calls, I go to the distributor. The guy tells me, and this is continuing the hemp story, but
Right.
I
The
go to the
decade.
distributor. Yeah, so I get the distributor's info. I go there and I show up every day for like 5 days. And this guy is just like, this kid will not leave me. Like they keep telling me he's not there. I just come back the next day. I'm like, hey, is he here? He's like, no, he's not in yet. Come back the next day. After like the fifth day this happening, the guy was just like, fuck, okay, tell me. So I show him my product. I show him the packaging. He's like, okay, this actually isn't half bad. So he gives me a chance and we get our first ever check. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm rich. I'm rich. I'm up. I'm up. It's just I was excited. It was the first time I'd ever gotten any like success in an actual company. Selling products, drop shipping. I didn't really have much success, so this is like a better experience for me. I was happy to learn about it. Now from that point on, we ended up like having like a continuous relationship with him, and we sold him a couple products, couple runs, and my partner at the time, I guess he was content enough. He had come from a rougher part of life than I did, right? So he had like he was orphaned, or not orphaned, but he was like homeless from the point where he was 13 to till then. Like he'd been fending for himself from that point. So he just wanted to enjoy. This is the first time he'd had like a little bit of capital. We didn't have much money in the bank account, but it was like more than I'd ever seen in my life. And I was like, wow, holy shit, this is a lot. So he takes half the money and he goes off to California and he just parties. And that was like, oh shit, okay, nice. I now have like half of these funds and I have to get more contracts delivered to this guy. So I start calling everybody. I'm calling as many people as I can. Everyone on my phone book. I'm like, hey, I have to fold these packages. I wish I could show you guys, but let me see if I can. I don't know if it'll show on my phone, but let's see.
So essentially, you're left with half the funds you thought you were going to have to continue on the business, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, here, let's see. I don't know how well it'll show up. So, okay, so these are like the first iterations of my product, right? So this is like the first design of this product. Here's a second design right here. There you go. It ends up becoming a little, it starts getting swapped up. I'm making like iterations. I'm trying to figure out how to go. I'm talking with suppliers back and forth to make something happen. Finally, I get like a little bit of an iteration where like this is like the first final product right here, right?
Mhm.
So we get this, and then now it's in my hand, right? Like this is like the design that I made. It was since it was Delta 8, we made a little Easter egg. It was like a triangle and an 8 in the middle. I try to focus a lot on packaging, and I think if you look in the future, I mean, hopefully that reflects that. But I have to fold all these things, right? So if you look here, all this stuff, I'm sitting here folding this. Like these are 10,000 boxes that I have to fold by hand. All these things that you're seeing in the background are just like little unfolded boxes. I make a little website
Right.
for it. I do a little photo shoot for it. Just little things to make the business work. I offer like hemp delivery. We just did a whole bunch of cool stuff. Made some ads, some memes. All this stuff. And this is me growing it, figuring everything out. And that's just the business. That's it right there.
Mhm.
And we start doing semi well. Like it's not the business is going bad. It starts from um,
Well, you start
like
off in your car, basically, right?
pretty half car, half little workspaces, but yeah, pretty
Mhm.
much. And then turned it into like within 4 months, we had like a little bit of revenue, and that was it. We started working on our second iteration of the product, and after a while, I didn't really like want to continue with the business on, and me and partners, we had different visions. He wanted to go a different route than I did, and that was it. Like, and it was really just like how much more we'd be putting back into the business. And at the time, like he'd been content because this had been enough for him. So he was just like, why we can just keep selling this, and I wanted to grow, and I was like, you know what? Let me just see if I can't figure out some solution. So I got like an exit, and I ended up leaving the business, and I got paid off for my portion, and I was happy. So at that point, I'm like,
Mhm.
whoa, I got all this cash for the first time. What am I going to do? And it really honestly was not anything at the time. Like, it was sub $20,000. Like, it wasn't a lot. But for me, this was like the most money I had in my life. Like, it was
Mhm.
insane. So I started calling Airbnbs, and like, because in Austin, the real estate market was booming. People couldn't stop moving to Austin, right? We were like the number one place to live for 4 years, right? So I'd moved there in 2016, and it developed into this massive thing that I just didn't imagine. So I start calling Airbnbs. I start calling like as many places as I can, and I'm like, hey, do you have availability? I'm gonna do Airbnb. Can I don't say that, but I'm just like, can I rent out this unit? Like, if you have any units, please let me get one. And they're
Right,
like,
because
okay.
you're trying to take the money that you just got and turn it into more money, basically.
Exactly. And I was just like, everyone always talks about real estate. I don't really have like another skill set. I don't really know like what products to sell at the time. So I'm just like, okay, real estate, is solid. Worst comes to worst, I make enough money on Airbnbs. I can hire a property manager, and we'll be fine. So I start like getting this. I get like three apartments locked down in 2 days. And then on the third day, one of my buddies and my boys was just like, hey, I got these products that I want to, I think you do well on, because you did marketing for the hemp. Like, I was able to figure out how to run um, hemp ads on Facebook, right? So like they
Mhm.
had a number of restrictions to all this stuff, but I'd figured out how to target individuals through Facebook ads that wanted to buy my products. And I did it through a bunch of different creative methods. I made little memes and ran them as ads, and used lingo that only those people would understand. And, it converted into minor sales. But then my buddy who knew I was doing this was like, hey, why don't you take this to this industry and see if it'll apply itself there? And that's, I mean, that, unfortunately, this brings us up to,
Right. So, well,
yeah,
before we kind of finish, that's kind of what brings us up to the events that unfold in a mysterious fashion, right?
October, I
So,
guess this is like, I guess this brings us to, yeah, pretty much it. Like, I can't really say much more, but
mm,
it leads us
right,
into
the
there. And
events
I
that happen
honestly,
later on.
exactly. And I honestly, everybody here, like, I know from the videos, it seems like I'm this dude who's an asshole. And I promise, whenever everything's available, I will say as much. I'll say everything, but right now, just I can't. And I apologize. I know you guys are excited to see this, and Focus has been very kind, and I've been corresponding with him to do as much as I can. I'll be giving him as much as I can give him without making it any more difficult for myself. And I've already told him, and you guys as well, that I will, as soon as anything is cleared up, I will come back on here. But for the
Well,
moment, I can't.
before we go, I do want to talk about two things. So,
Let's
number
do it.
one, personal heroes for yourself.
Personal heroes. Walt Disney.
Okay.
Walt Disney. Do you want me to give multiple, or do you want me to give one and explain why?
Just one that came to your mind. Tell us why.
Okay, so Walt Disney seldom was seen as a guy who was insane, right? But people don't realize that Walt Disney was one of the greatest um, business minds ever, right? Like, it's extremely, like, we think of Walt Disney, and we think of Disney and TV, and what it's become now, and what a shit show. But when you look at Walt Disney in the 40s and the 30s, it's incredible, right? So this guy who is like a programmer, and is just like making things with a partner, he fails 3 times. His projects are stolen from him 3 times, right? He
Mhm.
has he has like a very popular tiger comic that he creates, and it does semi successful with some shows, and then it gets lost. Like some guy that he brought an investor on, and they laid claim over it, and he didn't really have the resources to fight, and it was taken from him, unfortunately. But he kept going, and he started another project, and this time it was a business partner. So he had a business partner who he makes another design, and this is the one this is the last straw before he makes Mickey Mouse. In that whistling Mickey Mouse, like animation that everyone knows, where Mickey Mouse is whistling on a boat,
Yep.
and he gets screwed over
Steamboat
again.
Willie.
Steamboat Willie, yeah, exactly. So he figures that out, and he's just like, okay, fuck this, I'm gonna do it again the third time. So now he gets in this third time, and Walt Disney is now he has a little bit of success. Now, Walt Disney was a guy who was so ahead of his time, it was incredible. He made Snow White, right? That movie, that film was made in the 30s, if I'm not mistaken, 30s, late 30s, early 40s, Snow White, right?
Mhm.
And it was revolutionary, right? It was like a steamboat. Mickey Mouse was also revolutionary because it was the first thing to pair sound and audio, or audio
Visual, I know what you're saying.
visual and animations, right? But Snow White had color, sound, audio. It was nothing. If you look at that
Well,
and
it's
you compare
funny.
it,
There's it saved the company at the time. I believe it was 1939. And then what's funny is
yeah,
it might be the film to kill the company next year. So we'll see how it goes.
ah,
Yeah.
such a damn shame. Such a damn shame.
But so Walt Disney's you. So do you kind of identify with that indomitable human spirit?
Um, I will tell you,
Kind of
I'm
like
not a
just
guy.
the will to
I'm
keep going, basically.
I'm not a guy who quits. I will. I will. Yeah, that's. You know,
So talk to me
I don't
about
give up.
the goal. What's the end goal for you?
Are you talking about just in life in general?
Sure. Yeah. Well, you told me in a couple conversations ago that you had a like I don't want to be poor again. I want to make it big, like that sort of stuff. So like,
Yeah.
what's your end goal?
So I know with the context, what I'm going to say next, and with all the videos and live streams you guys saw, it's going to sound crazy, but the straight up the number one thing for me in life is relationships, right? Because you always hear the sayings that world and money makes the world go round, and money is super important and all that stuff. But the number one most important thing in life is relationships, right? And I'm a person who values those. I've learned that goodwill over a long enough period of time will return infinitely. Like it's so much better just to treat people well and do good business and make sure that you are in a place where you're helping others, right? And again, I know from everything that I'm fucking screaming that I can't talk about any of this stuff right now, and I'm sorry to everybody. I will come on here as soon as I can, but goodwill is something that gets you extremely far. Relationships get you extremely far. At the end of the day, that's really the only thing that matters. That is something that I value. But my end goal, so being from Guinea, I know that like I understand the realities, right? I've seen, living around the world as a kid, I've seen a lot of life, right? I've seen life from a lot of different perspectives, a lot of different cultures, and how things are viewed. I mean, we're really lucky to live here in the U.S. Straight up, like life is pretty simple, like it's. I know at first hearing that, and guys, I'm not reading the chat. I can't like focus on doing two things. So I know if I'm getting violated, I'm sorry. If I'm not reading it, I'll take it after.
It's actually
But
not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
oh, okay. But I want to help and learn, right? So right now I've just turned 23. I turned 23 last month in November, and my objective is to take a lot of the knowledge that I learned and take a lot of the skills and just go global with it. Honestly, but I really want to look back at my country. My country in Guinea, one of the worst GDPs on earth. Like it's terrible, and education's horrible. Like it's just not good for a lot of people. And I want to go back and help, right? So I want to like the only difference, the only thing that separates me and a lot of other people. I'm not like special. I'm not a dude who is born with immaculate genetics and all this stuff. I'm just persistent and I try. Straight up. I just that's it. Like when I see an opportunity, I go after it and I don't stop. And I learn, like I read, I get knowledge, I talk to people. That's pretty much it. Only thing that's separating me from a lot of people is just time and speaking to knowledge. Straight up. That's it. So I spend a lot of time and effort trying to improve. And I was very fortunate as a kid that I think I grew up in like a golden age of the internet, where it's like 2001.
Where it was like just kicking off, basically.
Exactly. So I got to use the internet in a way that a lot of people will never get the opportunity to, where it was very raw and unfiltered, and I could really like have freedom of searching and freedom of things, and it wasn't so cultivated and it wasn't so fine-tuned to where you get on the internet and it shows you exactly what you want to see. It's not an attempt to retain your attention and your data. So I learned I think I learned from the best version of the internet, and I had access to a lot of knowledge. And being an only child, I spent a lot of time on my own. Parents from the military, dad was doing other things. It's I was making my own, like the internet was kind of what I grew up on. So that same time period gave me a lot of the thought processes and ideas that I have now. How to just keep learning how to do things straight up. And I intend to bring that over because in countries like my country and the surrounding, we have extremely valuable resources, but there's like really shit circumstances that you just won't hear about, like people trading like just stupid deals, basically like politicians giving out $1 billion contracts for $5 million, like stupid shit like that. And you're like, why is this happening? But you think about it, it's just like dudes who've never had anything, and they're giving out these massive contracts because it's the first time they've seen more than $100,000. You know, so you see a lot of like things like this, and it's just like, why? You know, if it's estimated that my country has over 300 years worth of iron deposits, and that's our second most valuable resource in that
Now,
country.
when you say my country, you mean your homeland, basically, right?
Correct. In Guinea,
Yeah.
where my
And
mother's from.
do you identify with that more just because of your upbringing?
Yeah, like it wouldn't be, you know, it's the only reason being is I never had a consistent place to call home. Right, like being in the military, and like I guess like I was always speaking English, and I was always under the, you know, the under America and under like the, I guess, the hands of the US military growing up until I was like 14, 15, 14, but until about that point. So I never had a place. Everyone was like, oh, I'm from South Dakota, or I'm from, you know, someplace, but I never really had that because I was always like, and during vacations, I would never go back to the US. We would just be like staying in, we didn't have much money. So I would stay in the country that I was in. So and we were always living, sometimes we'd live off base, sometimes we'd live on base. And I don't know if everyone knows, but you know, when you're in a separate country, in a foreign country, you have the option to live on the military base, or you can live off of the military base and get your own rent. And it's a cool thing. So I had that luxury, and it was like hard for me. Like I was always like, yo, like I'm an American, but I never had like a place where I could call home. Because by the time I had recollection, we'd moved around so a lot that there wasn't a place in the U.S. Like I was just born in North Carolina, but I didn't like, you know, I didn't live there. I didn't have a lot of memories there. I didn't have
Right, you
friends
didn't
there.
identify with it, right?
Yeah, but the one place I always went back was because I was living with my mom, and she's African. She'd send me to Africa during the vacation, so I'd see cousins, I get friends. You know,
Mm.
Part of the reason I work so hard is because I understand that a lot of people don't have the same opportunities I have, and I'm very fortunate. Straight up, like being born the way I've been born and living here, I've been extremely fortunate. You know,
So is
there's
your
not
end
much I
goal
can
then
say.
to kind of take some of this knowledge, power, money, that sort of stuff, and help your people back home?
Um, yes,
I
ultimately,
mean,
like helping
if
others.
so, on paper, it's a moral goal, right?
Yeah,
Noble goal,
I
right?
mean, yeah, I would say so, right? Because at a certain point, like, you know, I'm sure I'll figure something out, and I'll be all right in life. You know,
Mm.
and God, I fucking wish I could talk about, you
It's
know,
right.
now,
We will talk
and
about it more, but that
yeah,
does kind of wrap up everything that we can really go into now. But there was one question that I think you can answer, sir,
talk to me.
and it was, what's your number one Uber Eats order?
Woo! Sal, shout out you. Okay. Now I'm not gonna lie, I'm very consistent with two places, right? I know. Oh fuck, I can't even. I can talk about Uber Eats. My favorite Uber Eats order. I said it in the DMs, baby. It's ube cheesecake, ube ice
So
cream. I'm on it.
what is ube cheesecake?
You don't know what ube
Like,
cheesecake
I've
is?
never had it before. That was the first time
Can
I
you
searched
share,
it live on
brother,
stream.
brother? Can you share your screen?
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Can you share this screen?
1 second. It shows it that, yeah, I searched it the other day.
Okay. So let's pull up the screen here. Let's see some. What the fuck? I don't know about that. Okay, I don't know what this lady's. We need. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless
Jeez.
you. Thank you. Can you?
What are we looking at?
Okay, so let's see. Let's find one. Let's find the like a. You need like. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, you see that?
This one?
Scroll up above that one. That right there. That thick ube cheesecake that you're just like, whoa. See, it doesn't seem like it would be. No, not that one. Not that one. The one. Yeah, that's the one. That right
Interesting.
there
Huh.
is phenomenal. You know, if you've never had it, I'd recommend you give it a try. Ube ice cream.
Bomani says gamer girl cheesecake. That's
Hey,
funny.
you know what? Gamer Girls are where it's at. I don't really, you know, tap me in with your local Gamer Girls. We can share a slice of cheesecake together, you know.
All
But
right.
no,
Well,
that's my order.
all right. Any last final closing thoughts, sir? I might try and bring a couple people on after you.
No, truth be told, you know, don't believe everything you see on the internet. And if you aren't going to go on and listen to people on the internet, I would recommend you ask them for proof, right? Because a lot of people come on and they say things, and this is the internet after all. So a lot of people come on and they'll tell you something, but it may not be entirely true, right? So you might be under the impression that you're supporting and helping, but things may not always be as they seem. So I'd recommend that if you don't want, because I know that's research, right? Generally, you don't expect people to be dishonest. So if you want people, if you want to have a better understanding, and you can't expect this because a lot of what's on the internet is misinformation, I'd recommend that you take the time and do a little research, and just see or ask the people to cite a source, show proof of what's going on. That's pretty straightforward. That's it. I really am hoping, as soon as this is finished, I'm gonna, I'll have the opportunity to really come on here and give you guys, because boy, it would be nice, honestly. Yeah, y'all are. I'm looking at the chat right now. Y'all are violating me with this cheesecake thing. God damn, fried chicken cheesecake.
Yeah,
Josie
no,
Wales.
I saw those.
God damn.
Watermelon cheesecake, purple drink cheesecake,
damn.
all of it.
What did it? I saw one of these. It was the funniest one I'd seen in a while. And it was I chuckled. It was like a watermelon eater, chicken defeater. Boy, I was going crazy.
Oof, geez.
That one, it was tough. It was tough. But no, honestly, it's all in good spirits, and I really do, hope I can come back on here and say something.
Yeah, because I think if you can come back on and actually answer questions, I think the people will be much more excited for something like that.
Nick, I'm taking Alex's advice. Show me proof you paid them. Cite your sources, sir. God damn it.
Oh, well, I know. That's what I was thinking while you were saying it. I was like, you're saying this, but you're also like, this applies to everybody in this conversation.
Okay, so right? You know what? Let's see. Let's see if I can't find a way to, I guess, fuck. Maybe there's, I don't know. I don't know what I can, because you can confirm, right? That
confirm what?
Like if I was to send you, I don't know if I can do it by my attorney or not, but.
Well, if you send me something to share, me in the chat can go over it, but that's up to you.
Yeah.
Because once it's out there, it's public info, so you need to be
that is true.
aware of
that. I have to be. Well, Can I take a brief moment to make a call?
Of course, sure.
Okay, I will mute my phone.
I'll take you off of here. He's in the background at the moment. So yeah, so I said that I would not, we wouldn't discuss the things. That was the only way he was going to come on. So I did that, right? I got a lot of people asking if they can come on right now. I don't know if that's entirely fair. Probably not while he's on, but I think we can talk about it. Alex, Kalash. Okay, John, Kalash, can you, Rude wants to come on. AJ's here. I want both of them on. Yes, AJ. Rude Manufacturing. I want both of you on. Send me an email, a DM, or get John to send me those. And I will have all of you on, but not at the same time with Alex, because I did agree to that. Yes, sir. I texted you back, John. All right.
Well, unfortunately, I am unable to share any of that. Okay. But I'm sure the truth will come to light. Simply put. So
sure. Can we ask? Can we ask court date? Because I heard January 7th or 9th from Julian. I want to say.
Hey, listen. I don't even want to get into any of that. Like if it's regarding this whole matter, I just don't even want to talk about it. As soon as it is cleared up, I will text you that same day, and I'll come on here and give an in-depth explanation of the entire thing.
Okay.
but
Well, hey,
I can't
I
even. Yeah.
appreciate it. And like I said, 91%, 92% of people didn't think you were going to show up at all.
Hey, no,
So you
listen,
did that.
I'm like, I don't have anything to hide. I seriously just can't talk about it because of ongoing litigation. Otherwise, I would be here giving you everything. Like, I've taken some time, and I really took time out of my day to make everything straight, make everything correct. So I will come back when I have the opportunity, but just for now, I can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think AJ's here. I think AJ is saying official January 9th.
AJ trigger advice.
Investor Alex scanned me is what he's that's his YouTube name. That's amazing. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think January 9th is what I had heard as well. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, hey, if that's the date, that's the date. I'm not really
Well,
gonna
quite
say anything.
honestly, good luck, and I hope the truth prevails. Right.
Hey, I hope the truth prevails as well. And regardless of the matter, you have my word. As soon as everything is cleared up, I will come back on here and I will give the entire story. I know it won't be as interesting, and
Right.
everyone will
No,
have
I think
moved
it
on to the
still
next thing.
will, especially if it has like a court backing behind it. Then I think that
Yeah,
adds some legitimacy to it rather than just
absolutely.
your word versus his word versus his word
Exactly.
versus his words. Because there's at least 5 different stories I've been told so far, so it's very fun.
All right.
All
Well,
right, sir.
thank
Well,
you, sir.
you have a wonderful night. Thank you very much.
All right. You have a good one.
Dude, bye. All right. Well, how did you guys think that went? I was watching the chat the whole time. Very exciting, very good, very funny as well. X to doubt. I see lots of X's. Have a bad one, gay, kick, he doesn't know, kick, focus, baby. I'm here. Oh no, Logan. Logan for $50. See? Made it all worth it. The dude actually showed up. Here's the $50 I bet that he wouldn't show. Yeah. Thank you, Logan. That Logan sucks at shooting. Thank you. You're a big support of the channel. I appreciate it. He did. He did indeed show up. And he chatted. He didn't give me everything that I wanted. Me and Alex, we've been conversing for the last 2 or 3 days. I've had a couple phone calls with him. He may or may not have sent me some stuff, right, that I can't necessarily go over. But it keeps adding layers and layers to the story, right? So even just getting some background information on him, I thought would be a fun time. Yeah, so Cokeman says there's too many characters in this anime for me to follow. You got the Alpha Tactical, Peter, Jordan, Jackie, those guys. You have Rude Manufacturing, who's semi against Alpha Tactical. You have Alex, AJ, Jesus, Julian, formerly of Trigger Empire, kick Alex out, shut down that, move on to their new company, Texas Triggers. You have the YouTuber side of things, which is like Clay, Kamaz, a few other guys that get brought up into this because of the whole TriggerCon thing, TFB TV as well. No, I had people reach out to me today before the stream, like, hey, what's going on? And it's like, well, go back 8 hours worth of content and you can figure it out, right? This is the season finale, or actually probably the mid-season finale in this, I would say. And then eventually we'll get the final story probably in January. So press Q to invite me in. I'll get you in here, Trench. Let me in, Dad. I'll get Trench in here. Chat's going to be very happy about that. But why aren't people... Come on, where are you at? Sorry, Alex just texted me. I believe him that he called us. I don't know why he wouldn't. That's fine. All right. Can I send him the... There it is. Boom. All right. Send that to Peeps. All right. Who else is still here? I am interested in chatting about all this. Cokeman. I could get Cokeman on. That'd be fun. Coke, do I have... What do I contact you on? I'm not just going to put that in chat. Shout out Cokeman. Yeah, Cokeman just won most racist gun tuber of 2024, which is a honor that I worked very hard for all year and didn't get it. So Mitchell, I didn't see it ahead of time. I would have sent it. Unfortunately, I did already send him the link, so I can't undo it. Mitchell Black for $4.99 says, "I'll send you this super chat not to add trench grenade." No, I think he's gonna have some fiery opinions about it. Kalash, here I sent you the link, John. So yeah. Okay, so John's here. Hey, John, thanks for hopping in.
Actually, I'm sorry. Let me switch over computers here. Let me back out real quick.
Give me a minute, okay? I know Julian's still here, cranking his hog away. Here, let me pull you off screen there, sir. Clayco, I will get you back on as well because I want to talk to Root Manufacturing. They can send me docs to focustrip@gmail.com. And then AJ, if you're still here, I would like to get you on. AJ, can I get you, send me an email or something and I'll get you on here, AJ, because I would love to talk to you. You're one of the few people I haven't talked to yet, AJ. So if you could get on here, that would be fantastic. Yeah, Kamaz will be on. I know, the architect says to talk to Rude Manufacturing. I want them on as well. I need to have some way to send them an invite. That's all. Shadow Force TQB says, honestly, Focus, you could have tried harder. No, that wasn't the point. Of course, I could have asked him a million questions about Trigger Empire, Alpha Tactical, Texas Triggers, and all of the situations. Yes, of course, I could have done that. But that wasn't, he said he wasn't going to talk about it. If I brought it up, he was going to leave. So that's kind of worthless to bring on. So yes, I could have pressed harder. That was not the point of the convo. I told him you should come on anyways because, he was hesitant to come on. So come on anyways. Say that you can't say anything. We'll talk a little bit about your background, and maybe that will be illuminating for reasons. And he did. Trench Grenade is here as well with the Christmas tree. Very festive. Hope you're having a wonderful Christmas, sir.
Dude, imagine having the audacity to join the stream and then to talk about Uber Eats and how much money you spend on, what was it, cheesecake?
There's a thing about letting people talk, and sometimes things just go sideways, right?
Well, I think it was good for you to let him talk because chat definitely we've had that conversation ad nauseum about letting people talk, letting people expose themselves or whatever, right? So letting the dude talk and expose himself, and everyone realized he was a clown right away. I think I joined in super late, like 30, or I don't know how long he had the stream out, but 15 to 30 minutes late into the stream. And the dude was just talking about how he DoorDashed Uber Eats. And it's like, dude, be self-aware enough to realize you ripped off how many thousands of dollars, like roughly $100,000 from these people. And you're talking about how much you're Uber Eatsing.
Well, it gets complicated, right? Because, sorry, I'm distracted. I'm typing.
Oh, you're good. I know. I was one of the people. So for chat, while Focus answers stuff, I was one of the people blowing up Focus during this whole thing. Like, let me in, because this dude is like. I'm sure he's a great dude. I'll play devil's advocate. I'm sure he's a great dude, whatever. But he's not. He's a clown. And everyone that Focus probably knows right now is probably hitting him up like, let me in. Here's the stipulations while I join or whatever. So I'm just the clown here filling the gap between the previous clown and myself. But yeah, that dude's a clown. And he, it's a good thing that Focus let him on here to kind of expose who he is as a person. That's always good, right? But unfortunately, whenever you jeopardize your character flaws as a human being, it's really hard to come back from that. And I think that's really what we're talking about here. It's not really like no one here, if we're being honest, if everyone in chat or everyone that ever sees this video was in the same room, we're all having a face-to-face conversation, everybody would come to the same conclusions like, hey, dude, just don't do that. That's bad character,
Well, yeah, so I thought that was actually a really good conversation for that because we got to hear like his background and how he started out. Over in Germany. I thought that was very, very interesting towards his mindset, towards the way that he views things, towards the way that he looks at America versus like his quote unquote homeland and stuff like that. And I love those sorts of conversations about people.
Yeah. Yo, what up, dude?
Oh, shoot, I forgot. There's another person. AJ, I just sent it to your email, Julian texted me your email address. So AJ, the link is in your email. Sorry if that was a couple minutes ago. Playco, I sent you an invite as well. So yeah. French is already here. Who else do I have to say? I have to send something to someone, don't I?
I think there was one more.
person.
Oh, Vintage. Is Vintage coming in?
Blue Eyed Devil, if you think that was an infomercial for Alex, I don't know if you watched that.
I don't know if you watch TV. I don't know if you're familiar with how TV works.
Infomercial for selling himself.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is the way that he's, because we've had probably now 4 hours of phone conversations, not including about 45 minutes on the live. So I've talked to Alex a good bit, and that is exactly how he talks. So
right.
Let me see here.
I think Vintage might have been, he was in chat when we were talking.
Well, he said to send him a link, but now I just have to get it back on my, it was off my clipboard for some reason, so I had to go re-find the original link. Okay, so Cokeman. Once Cokeman sends me a message, I will get him on here as well if he wants to chat. Vintage can speak for me. He's my secretary. Yeah. All right, John, what's your opinion on Alex after hearing that background?
I mean, you know, dude's a dude, but I'm just, you know, like, I can't even lie, man. I'm just annoyed that I have so little to do with it. And I got people hitting me up for triggers. I'm like, yo, man, I'm not the guy for that. You know, if you want your money back, go to Alex straight up. You know, that's annoying as hell. I could see Clay had the exact same problem I had. You know, I'm like, yo, we ain't got no triggers. We ain't got no money. This ain't us, man. Go to Alex.
Uh-oh. This is the man that I wanted to talk to because
What's up,
I
everybody?
have not talking to AJ at all yet. So how is your evening going, sir?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So why don't, for everybody that's not quite up to speed here, can you fill us up on your involvement with Alex Trigger Empire and kind of the saga as you see it?
Yes, sir. I'd be happy to. So approximately back at the end of, September or end of October? End of October, Alex had been hitting me up to invest money into Trigger Empire because my background is in industrial hemp. You see, I have my pin here. So all the industrial hemp dispensaries that you see in all these states, I'm a chairman for one of the largest trade organizations that deal with, legal cannabis. So Alex knew I had some money, and he basically was like, "Hey, do you want to invest in the Trigger Empire?" And I said, "Well, to be honest with you, it's not an industry I'm too comfortable investing into because I was afraid of the conflict between my two industries. You know, I'm dealing with industrial hemp. I got some defense going on against some business owners that were victimized and stuff by, zealous law enforcement, stuff like that. So I didn't want to bring any additional heat to me. But eventually, that it was legal. He sent me over the judge's ruling and stuff like that. So I did some investigations, had my attorneys look at it, and then they said, hey, you know what? This is a little bit of a gray area, but at this time it's currently legal. It's green. Yes, they might be going in 4 years or so to the Supreme Court. But for the most part, this is something you can be involved in for the next few years. So at this time, I actually happen to be in China because I do a lot of manufacturing. Besides industrial hemp, we manufacture machines. I'm involved in real estate. Here's even my other real estate company. I got my badge. I'm on the road right now. Got my guys. We're over here buying properties. So we're doing a lot of things, besides hemp and besides Trigger Empire. So eventually I get involved with the company when I'm out in China, and Alex is trying to convince me to manufacture these goods in China. I was a little bit reluctant because I was afraid of the impacts when it came to the trading. At this time, I wasn't aware trying to get me involved into. He assured me that it was all legal, that everything was legit.
Well, so
and
can we back up?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, sir.
So who initiated the bringing things over to China, Alex or you? Because I believe, if I remember correctly, he told me that you wanted to bring it over to China.
No. So initially, Alex knew I was manufacturing in China, and he told me he actually manufactured some of the components over there. I guess one of the little springs or something like that. He had ordered like 10,000 pieces. And yeah, he was trying to say, hey, if we can save money, we can manufacture the thing in China. So I said, okay, well, let me look into it. All right. At this point, when he first hit me up, I wasn't even an investor. I was just going to help him manufacture. So first it started with the boxes, the Trigger Empire boxes that I manufactured. And I'm currently sitting on like 10,000 pieces at my warehouse. So first it started with that. Then Alex wanted me to start looking into the pricing. So I started shopping the prices around and things like that. But then I had my attorneys look into it, and then they came back to me and says, look, this is illegal. As a matter of fact, I have two sets of attorneys because I have a company in China. My company, an American guy, owns a company in China. Yes, have the licenses and everything to prove it. And basically, I went to the lawyers that I have in China to also look into the legalities of manufacturing these components. So yes, Alex was the one that initiated, but I wasn't opposed to it either, you know, at that
Okay.
time. Because at this point, Alex is the president of the company. His direction, everything that he wants to do, you know, I'm just here to support. He made that very clear. You know, I was a minority partner as far as, you know, the percentages that he was offering for my capital investment at that time.
So can I ask about, are there text messages or email, or are these verbal conversations you guys were having? Is there any sort of paper trail for this?
I'd have the contracts and everything with Alex that he actually prepared and gave to me. I signed, but I have the copies. These will all be part of the um, evidence and stuff that we're going to be submitting to their lawsuit. So this will all be public data, all public information.
Okay. Now, question to you about your initial investment. So Alex knows you from the hemp, or finds out from you from the hemp, talks to you about triggers. What is the initial buy-in amount and agreement?
Initially, Alex, he wanted $150,000. That's what he first came at me with, and he tried to offer me like 10% of my money back. I told him no way, that I work in industrial hemp and we make 100% return on the money in 1 year. So I wasn't even interested. So then he came back and said, I'll give you 100% of your money back in 1 year. And I still wasn't interested because it's not just, you know, from what I have going on now with my time allocation, is just something I wasn't interested in. So then he wanted to offer me percentages. So then he was offering me percentage. I think initially the contracts that he presented to me, if I'm not mistaken, was 20%. First, he wanted to give me 10%. So I said, no, I wasn't having it. So then he came back and said, I'll give you 20%. So initially the deal was that I was going to be offered 20% of Trigger Empire, and I was going to be in charge of all the manufacturing and things that they would need. And he had options to manufacture anywhere. I presented him options here in America. I presented him options in Mexico. I presented him options in India and China.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll pause there if anybody has any questions.
So what was the initial buy-in amount? So it was originally 150,
So
and
the
then
initial buy-in amount is that Alex, for my 20%, I had to produce, I think it was 3,000 units ready to go, which was an equivalent of $200,000 to Alex. Initially, he wanted $150,000 to manufacture, I think it was 1,000 or 1,500 units. But then somehow it turned into like 2,000 units, and I was okay with that. So it was something like that, 2,000 or 2,500 units for 25%, which was an initial buy-in of approximately $150,000 to $200,000 to Alex.
in the form of cash, or to how did that work?
So I wire transferred some money into the accounts, and then I also started buying stuff. So once we signed our agreement, I started buying everything for the company. I have receipts for all the stuff, for everything I
Because
purchased.
I think in the lawsuit that Julian sent over to me, I think you were noted in there for $74,000.
Correct. At that time, it was $74,000. But because I basically discovered that Alex was doing a bunch of fraudulent stuff, since then, a bunch of people have come forth expressing how their concerns or expressing their troubles that they have with Alex. So we've been actually spending money. I've been spending my money with the Colonel's money and Jesus. We've been putting our money together and actually paying people back. There were some items that Alex had taken, right? Some items that were actually, you know, I mean, I'm just going to say, guys, I'm not holding back. I don't care. I'm the one pushing the charges. Alex took a gun from somebody. We ended up paying him back for the AK that he took and never returned. That's one item, for instance. A bunch of triggers that he sold. I think all you guys are asking how much. Well, Alex never disclosed to me that he had pre-sold anything, that he had chargebacks of $30,000 on the account, and the merchant processor was going to hold 50% of the money for 30 or 90 days. So I discovered all this later. Okay. So our estimates is that we have $30,000 reported to a merchant processor of chargebacks, because even when Alex,
Right.
he can come back and say, oh, well, I was trying to do the right by the customers and it just, you know, things didn't work out or whatnot. But then when the customers were requesting their money back, how come Alex didn't just send it back to them? You know? So $30,000 on merchant processors I had later discovered. And then we estimate, I don't really know, but we suspect that there's approximately at least another 30 to potentially $60,000 owed to people who paid in Cash App, Zelle.
That's
Right,
what
like-
I was going to ask, because he was
Right.
also going around to trade shows, if I'm not mistaken,
100%.
and taking, yeah,
Absolutely.
right.
AJ, that 30,000 in chargebacks, I believe that was after I launched my video. I was flooded with DMs from people from his original plan to pre-sell triggers a year before I ever made that video about the trigger. I'm
Right.
assuming those were all a part of that first $30,000 chargeback batch. That's just the guys that did the chargeback. Maybe some to this day still haven't. But that's what initially threw me for a loop after I made the video. I kind of got ass blasted with DMs saying, yo, I don't think you know who you're making a video for. I'm still owed money to this day from a year ago from pre-sold triggers before Trigger Con ever happened, before anyone knew who Alex ever was. I'm assuming that's out of that batch of $30,000 chargebacks, because that all happened before the video was ever made.
So, Clayco, how does a person like Clayco, the Colonel, or AJ even get in contact with a kid like this and invest so much money into some, like, the person is clearly an underdeveloped incel, right? Just a child. So, and I'm not trying to actually attack him. Like, that's just what he appears to me, right? As what I saw from tonight. So, how do so many professionals like Clayco, the Colonel, a lieutenant colonel, if not a full bird colonel.
He's a full colonel, sorry.
Right. So, okay. So a full bird colonel in the Army, Clayco, AJ, and whoever else is involved with this, now Focus Trip, now myself somehow, how are all these people so invested in this child? And again, if Alex ever sees this, I'm not trying to insult you, dude, but you are a baby. You don't know anything.
He is watching this right now. He won't stop.
Alex, you're a baby. Alex. So, Alex, if you hear this, what I'm saying right now, you have no character. You can't trust people with no character, right? People with no integrity and no morals, they have no baseline to stand on. So I would say going forward, you definitely need to develop a baseline of character and standards for yourself as a human, because regardless if you have $10 million in the bank or $100 million in the bank right now, if you have no character, you're just going to burn every bridge you come across, and you're not going to lead a life that is happy, okay? But my question to AJ and to Clayco and whoever wants to answer is, how does this even begin for the viewer? Like, you have so many people they're trying to make a product, right? A trigger or whatever. How does Alex, a child, an immature child, even become a part of this conversation?
AJ, if you don't mind, I'll just give you my 2 minutes on this. For me, it was very easy to get involved. The Trigger Con videos were out. They won this big major award for the most innovative product at Trigger Con. You know, one would think they don't just give that award out willy-nilly. You have a guy who is a colonel in the military backing Alex. You would think if anyone you could trust this guy backing someone like Alex. And Alex, when you meet him, he's obviously a very intelligent guy, speaks very well. He is just an intelligent young man, seems like a entrepreneurial spirit. That's the effect he had on me. This is before any of this stuff comes out. And, you know, I had other buddies that were at TriggerCon. The main guy was Bit and Fire. Good buddy, Mark, known him for years, goes by their booth, tries it out, tells me about the triggers. Apparently, he tells them about me because my channel's predominantly AK stuff. It's an AK trigger component. And that's how we got hooked up. And meeting the Colonel very much like legitimized everything in my mind. This is a serious guy, you know, trying to stand behind what they're calling a serious product. And the thing is, they had them at TriggerCon. They were demoing them at TriggerCon. Everyone and their brother said, I shot it. It worked. It was awesome. And then you have TFB TV making all these videos on it. So one would think there were no red flags as far as I was concerned until
you're right about that. Because
until I started testing it.
TFB TV lended a lot of criticism to the Trigger by making that video with it. I think it had like a 500,000 or 250,000 views or something. It won Best of Show. It won Best of Show at TriggerCon, and everything seemed legit. And it was a one of its kind product, right? And so, like, AJ, when you're telling me you're getting 100% back on your money, like, that's insane. Like an AK FRT is probably one of the few places you can get that right now. Right, because most everything else in the firearms industry is maybe somewhere between 13 and 25% margin on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like I said, the deal wasn't for me to get 100% back at all. That was what Alex offered me. I turned it down. because like I said, that's what we do now in the industrial hemp space. Actually, we make 300% return on our money. So if anybody out there wants to get involved, you can reach me. But back to the FRT conversation. So I wasn't interested in Alex's 100% return. It's only when he offered me the equity in the company. So I was investing money for no return. I put the money into the company to, seed money to grow the company. I wasn't going to get nothing back except for my equity.
Well,
So
right, but
basically
I
we
mean,
have-
you could see that the potential in this product, right?
Oh no, absolutely. So to answer your guys' question, like, well, how did I get to work with Alex? Well, I am an entrepreneur, right? Myself, I was in the military. I joined the military at 17. I traveled the world just like Alex. I had those worldly experiences, just like he mentioned earlier. And when I got out the military after 2 deployments, I basically got into business for myself, right? And I was about 27, 28 years old. So, Alex being 23 years old didn't really mean too much to me because by the time I was 23, fellas, I was already been deployed to Iraq, into Kosovo. I've been all over the world. I was married. I had a daughter already, so I had a whole blown family at the age of 23. So, an age doesn't, you can't judge somebody by their age. I know a lot of people do, but I don't. I look at the person, not the age. So I gave him a chance. I did see the entrepreneurial spirit as well. But I saw he needed some mentorship, and he admitted it. He wanted me to mentor him. That was actually part of our deal. That was actually part of the deal that he wanted to even put in the contract. I said, no, I don't want to be responsible for that, but I will help you out. And I did. I gave the kid 120%. And even when I started seeing him making mistakes, I tried to help correct them. And just to answer your question about do I have text messages and things to corroborate my statements? Absolutely. I absolutely have them, So I tried my hardest to do right by the kid. And it wasn't until I discovered that he started to lie. And at the end, he even lied to me. And I felt a little bit more betrayed because I was like the one mentoring him. I put the money there. He would confide in me about all his issues that he was having. And he painted people in a negative light. He painted the colonel in a negative light, Jesus in a negative light. Almost everybody he painted in a negative light. So he kind of had me fooled, I will admit, because I'm not ashamed to admit it because, so when you're doing 100 business deal, guys, 99 of them could be a win, but then there's always gonna be one guy like Alex that comes in and doesn't do good business. Unfortunately, I didn't discover this until after I'd invested a bunch of money, and then everything started coming to light. As far as the money that was owed to all the to not just to the partners, Jesus was owed money. Um, you know, like I said, I'm just going to talk about it. I hope I don't offend nobody. Pretty sure Jesus and the colonel don't mind. But just to give you guys the entire background, like you should, how Jesus and Alex had even partnered up. Alex was promising to pay Jesus a dollar amount, about $3,000 per month, I believe it was.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Alex never paid him at all. This guy Jesus who designed the trigger, who was Alex's main engineer, which mind you, Alex lied to me about that. He told me it was his designs and everything was his, the patents were his, but that's not true. Yeah, the
Good
patent.
evening. Sorry, AJ. Apologize.
Oh no, oh yeah, the colonel's here. Hey, what's going on? So ultimately,
talk
yeah.
to me about you guys get into the business. There's alleged fraudulent or at least unbeknownst to you debts that the company already has at the time of investment. Can you guys talk about that?
Absolutely.
Hey,
Absolutely.
AJ, we can play that out. So, AJ, and I'll leave it to you of how you were informed of the company's debts and how that was revealed to you.
Right. So after a series of drama that unfolded between Alex and the colonel, many of which, I felt like Alex was acting in bad faith towards the colonel. It prompted me to actually call
You
the
can
colonel
tell him I
directly.
left. You can tell him, AJ, I left the
Right.
company. You can tell him.
So
There's
there,
only
yeah,
one
so there
reason
was
I came back to the company.
All right. I don't know if this thing. Hold on. What happened to my thing here? Can you guys still see me?
We can hear you just fine, but your camera went out for a second.
Oh, let me see what the hell's going on here. So, I apologize. Let me see. I don't know, guys. I'm in a really bad reception area, but if you guys can hear me, I'll continue. So
Yeah, we can hear you
ultimately,
good. You sound good.
yeah. So ultimately, the colonel he ended up leaving the company because at this point he was fed up with all the lies and all the betrayal and stuff, and I had no interest in moving forward with the company. Once I realized that the colonel was leaving, because just like you guys said, he is young, and I realized the company of this magnitude wasn't going to be able to successfully be ran, with Alex behind the wheel, no matter how good he talks and no matter how smooth he is. So I reached out to the colonel. I've never spoken to him before until this point. I reached out to the colonel, introduced myself, and ultimately we started discussing. And he briefed me on all the company debts. He briefed me on all the background and stuff about how Alex had owed him money, continued to push back the deadline, had no plan in place to actually repay him. And then, which the colonel was okay with, I think he was also okay lending him money to help out a young man, because like we're cool guys like that, when I was young, nobody helped me out, so I'm trying to help out this other youngster. So ultimately, I think what happened was the colonel started noticing that customers were being, burned basically.
They're being defrauded.
They were being defrauded, and he was afraid of his name being attached to a company with that kind of activity. So anyway, I convinced the colonel to give the company another a shot. I got Alex and the colonel. We met in Austin, and we actually worked out a new deal. And we had rules and responsibilities, and we are going to move forward with that deal. And it was supposed to be all, one big team, and we're supposed to work cohesively together. But I'm just going to continue to keep going, but because it's a long story. But
no, you're good. That's
right.
What we're here
So after we started working together, on the second day, like literally the next day after Alex had signed the contract, um, he was trying to get me to defraud the colonel. He wanted me to do things that were going to basically get the colonel to either leave the company or to force him out the company, and I wasn't with it. And I didn't really know the colonel at this point. I only met him one time before. But because I shook his hand and I looked him in the eyes like a man, I wasn't going to burn somebody after I met them, I mean, I'm not going to burn nobody anyway, but the point is, like, you're sure as hell not going to burn somebody after you shake their hand. It's one thing if I never met the colonel and he tried to propose me. I still wouldn't have done it, but I'm just saying, but the fact that you had me come meet this man, shake his hand, sign a contract, go into a deal with the company, and then literally 24 hours later, you want me to help you get him out the company. And I told him I wasn't with that. And this goes back to the whole mentorship. And I try to mentor him through these challenges that he was facing. And we were able to work.
Can you talk to the method of defrauding the colonel and getting him out of the company? I'm a little fuzzy on the details there, if that makes sense.
Okay, so let's see. There's a couple different ways. I think the first way was on the next day, he told me he knew somebody in what's that old company? It was a Blackwater. He said he knew somebody in Blackwater and that he was going to try to. First, he told me all this negativity about the colonel. He told me a bunch of claims against him that turned out to not be true, right? In an effort to get me to not like him or trust him. Then he says he got this information from somebody from Blackwater, right? Which from my understanding, from a former military guy who actually applied to work for Blackwater and Triple Canopy, I thought Blackwater was out of business since 2010,
Right.
So I don't know if Blackwater's still around, but if there is, he claims that he's talking to somebody from Blackwater. All right. So regardless, he said that he had this other partner and he wanted this new partner to be in the company. And ultimately, I think he just wanted to. I don't remember specifically the mechanics of how he wanted to get rid of it, but he was trying to prep me to like, hey, I got somebody else. Fuck this guy. He said, if we can get him off, why don't we just get him off? Because ultimately,
was there a reason for that? Was he like, hey, we need to get rid of the colonel because what?
He felt that the colonel didn't deserve his equity in the company because I'm not 100% sure. I personally, if I was to break it all down, like, the psychoanalysis, and I don't want to even have to go there like that, 'cause I'm not trying to disrespect Alex. This is just all business right now. But if you run a psychoanalysis on Alex, I would kind of determine that he's probably a little bit narcissistic and, has like a little bit of a ego issue. He wants to always be the best. He's always the one upper. And I'm pretty sure all you guys who've ever talked to Alex can probably understand that. So I think what happened there is like, the colonel being in his position and Alex being young and then working with all these guys, he felt maybe like, he had to establish his dominance or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but basically what I do know is that he hated the colonel. I couldn't really understand why, because when I broke down the details, I said, okay, so this guy gave you money. This guy's running point on sales for your company. He's networking on behalf of your company, and he's out there going and spending his own money. I mean, to go out to these other states to make these relationships, you know, to share the trigger and stuff like that, you know. So in my experience, it's very hard to get a sales director. I mean, even if you pay guys, like I pay guys 75K starting as a sales director, and half the time these guys never, not even half the time, 9 times out of 10, these guys don't even work out. So to have a partner that's willing to do it for free and invest money, pay to do it, to me, I saw a lot of value in that. And I tried to express that to Alex. But at the end, he didn't see the value. He always thought he can do everything on his own, which is kind of a part of being young. When I was young, I was the same way. I didn't really get ahead in life until I was well into my mid 30s because I had that like, oh, I can do it all by myself. I can do, you know, I don't
Well,
want
and
to
you were in the
share.
military till 27, 28, right?
Right. But then that's when I started getting, I mean, in the Army, guys, I was doing business. You know, I've always made money, even in the Army, you know, but really hardcore when I first got out. I have numerous companies. Those companies are still operating today in all type of different backgrounds. Small businesses like barbershops and car stereo shops. And, you know, I even had a body shop at one point. I sold it, but it's still open. You know, so I did a lot of small things. And then I eventually got into, you know, cannabis out in California, which then later on brought me to, you know, learn about these medicinal benefits. That later on opened the doors for me to a lot of worldly figures, like in Thailand, Brazil, and a lot of other countries that I'm lobbying the legalization of these products. So, you know, that's how the progression of right where I come from. But I come from being a small business guy. I am a small guy. So when I saw Alex, I'm a small guy doing big things, right? And so when I saw Alex, I kind of wanted to help him out, you know, once again. But when he started to do these, and I even told Alex, I said, if you can burn the colonel, how do I know you're not going to burn me? I told him this, you know, and at the end, you know, he's a smooth talker. I know I've had a lot of partners in my life, so I know his personality. You know, he might have fooled me for 30 days, but that's all it took. After 30 days, I knew once we had to start working together day to day, you start to see the small warning signs. And now we're at the point where he basically, you know, like put it like this: there's company accounts, right, at Bank of America, and he was supposed to, you know, legally, in order if you have two partners on a business, you're supposed to have both partners on the account at the same time, right? Well, we went into Bank of America with Jesus, the other partner of the company at the time. I guess apparently they were both on there together. Apparently the bank says that some fraudulent documents were submitted and even requested because I used to have so many accounts, you know, I have so many business accounts. No, honestly, I like a lot. So I know the process. I have a lot of different partnerships and I know how difficult it is to open a business account when you have multiple partners. So I was curious and I asked the bank, how does Alex even have this account? So this account has my money in it at this point, right? This account has my money sitting in the account that only Alex has access to. And I thought Jesus had access to it as well. So I asked the bank, how is it possible that you're able to open an account with two partners and only one is the primary on the account? You know? So I said, even most of the banks, they have a system where they have to check this stuff on the SOS, the Secretary of the State. And they said that they've transitioned to a new system. So they've been requesting or requiring their new customers to bring in the documents by hand, right? So when I showed them the actual documents, I logged into the SOS on my profile, showed them the original documents, and that they informed us that some fraudulent stuff, and mind you, we've been on the phone for an hour. They're on the phone with the back office, the fraud department, and the lady, and I have a picture of it. I have a picture of the number, the phone number that the bank representative, the branch manager, written down, and says, you know what, you know, because you guys were never on the account, we can't release these documents to you. But if you contact the authorities and give them this fraud department number, we're going to turn over all the documents to them. You know, and then in a sense, the bank said, hey, you have to call the police.
Two hats, huh?
You know, so I didn't even want to call the police on Alex because that's not the kind of person I am. You know, but he put me in a
So
situation.
So what was the actual fraudulent activity?
You can't open a bank account and sign someone's name to open the bank account, Focus. Sign Jesus Guerra's name.
Oh, so he was signing other people's names to an account? That's the allegation?
No, we don't know specifically what it is. All Bank of America told us is that fraudulent documents had been submitted, and that's how Alex was able to be the only one on the business account, despite that there was two partners on the Secretary of the State Corporation, which was Jesus Guerra. So, because Jesus walks in the bank and says, "Hey, I'm the owner." Jesus is not only just the owner; he's also the registered agent, and he's also the patent inventor and main patent inventor. Not Trigger Empire, not Alex, only Jesus Guerra in his name as an individual who contracted the attorneys, has a patent in his name, right?
So where is
Is
Jesus in all
that
of
a drill
this?
sergeant hat, by the way?
Yeah, I've been a drill sergeant for the past 2 years. Got one more
That's
to
the
left.
bomb. The bomb. I still
I'll
remember.
probably get in
I
trouble
still
if
remember
anyone
my
ever
drill
sees this.
sergeant. I still remember. Is there baby blue around that?
Correct.
I love
Sorry,
it.
sorry,
I've been
sorry,
infantry
AJ.
for
We
the
turned
past
into a hat
12
stream
years.
somehow.
That's okay.
AJ knows what a baby blue means too. AJ earned his. AJ earned the CIP.
I mean, if they're going to say we're all hat,
So a question about Jesus. So Jesus is the actual inventor, designer of this trigger system. He's the guy who's out X amount of monthly funds, allegedly, that he was paid. And then also his name is being forged on documents.
No, I don't think it's being forged on documents. I think I'm only speculating once again, and I don't want to get into.
We'll find out.
Right, I
Focus.
can't.
To be
Right.
quite honest.
Okay.
All I can tell you is what the bank told me. The bank said that fraudulent documents had been submitted by Alex, which prevented Jesus to be on the accounts, which gave Alex access to these bank accounts. That apparently there was $30,000 in chargebacks and potentially additional fraudulent activities, and the bank had urged me to notify the police so the fraud department can turn over the documents. What those documents are, I don't know, but I can tell you that I have my funds tied into an account with Trigger Empire, right? That I have no
Mhm.
access to. Jesus Higuera had no access to. Only Alex had access to it. And when I asked him to do certain things, like, hey, even before he was gone, hey, can you pay his monthly stipend that we promised engineer? Because we
Mhm.
asked him to. When I say we, I'm talking Alex, but we as a company, right? Alex asked him to quit his job, right? So here you got a guy who's working, he's doing something. He's like, hey, I quit your job. I'm gonna offer you this much money. I'm gonna pay you this much money, and then work on this full time. He never paid him the money, not even 1 month in full. I mean, the first 30 days, Alex is in breach of his agreement off the bat.
Mhm.
Jesus, being a good guy that he is, and all you guys who met him out there know how good of a good-hearted person Jesus is. He's a very trusting individual. And he quit his job, and Alex put him in a very tough situation financially. But ultimately, Jesus got fed up with it. And even when I had my first meeting with Alex and Jesus for the very first time, I can see some of Jesus's frustration because he voiced a couple of things publicly. Like he was giving me he was showing me that, hey man, you know what? Yeah, I'm working with Alex, but I need you to know a couple of these things. And he said it right in front of Alex. In front of Alex, outside, where were we? Went to Texas Roadhouse, and before that, we went to a gun range. And we're sitting
Mhm.
outside the gun range, I'm over there smoking or whatever. And we're talking, we're just trying to, vibe and chill together. And even Jesus told me, hey, Alex, did you tell him about your, I forgot how he worded it, how he framed it, but he basically he gave me like a tip, like, oh, Alex has something pending in the background that I needed to know about. So he kind of gave me hints, that there was some shit going on with Alex already, but he didn't put Alex on blast. He didn't say anything. And then later on, I would discover, numerous things. And I know I'm not even covering everything correctly, but I'm just trying to give you guys as much information and details as possible. But so yeah, Jesus was burned, and and in addition to that, Jesus actually started the company. Like it was, he started the company in the form of he's the registered agent, right? He's a patent inventor. Jesus took out was it $20,000 or $24,000 in loans to fund the company,
Mhm.
in which Alex said he was going to fund the company and asked this guy to quit and pay him. At the end, Jesus, being a trusting guy, took out a loan for the company. Alex just tried telling him like, "Hey, I'll pay you back. Don't worry, this and the other." He took all his money. All right, didn't pay him. He took the colonel's money. Didn't pay him. He took everybody's. Apparently, he took a bunch of your guys' customers' money. Didn't pay those guys. And I invested money as well. And then when I did, the minute I put the money in there, he was very, I'm going to say, secretive over the accounts. And I would actually love to share you the text messages of me asking for screenshots of how much money's in the account. Did we pay these vendors that he had owed? Right? He owed
Right.
vendors. And then I was like, tells me afterwards, I learned after the money's in there that, so then they're using my money to pay off these vendors that were owed from fucking who knows how long ago, 6 months ago, 4 months ago. I don't have no idea. And I'm like, damn, but I'm a team player. So I'm like, all right, guys, let's get everybody paid. right? Because we don't need the company to have a bad name. But he had control over the money. We don't know how the money was spent, and that's just that's my angle. Like that's what he did to me.
Right.
Now everybody else can talk about what happened to them.
Yeah, so it's basically you're the main investor in this, as
I'm
far
the
as
main guy, man.
Right. So, all right. So now, well, I guess we can talk about that later. But moving forward, you're still doing the thing, but now with Texas Triggers and the Colonel, right?
I can't do Texas Triggers because it has such a bad name. You right?
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if you two were still in business or not, so that's what I was wondering.
Texas Trigger is going to be shut down, and then we formed a new entity.
You mean Trigger Empire?
Oh, sorry, yeah. That's what I was.
No.
That's what I was referring to. Yeah, Trigger Empire is getting shut down.
Yes, sir.
Texas Triggers is the new company that's going to be Jesus, the original designer, Colonel, and AJ. Right, you guys are the main three on that.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Yeah, perfect. Colonel, did you ever have an altercation with Alex about all of this stuff when it was like kind of all getting brought to fruition, anything like that?
No, I've never had an altercation with him. But someone did ask, in other words, how does the Colonel become involved with this young man? Number one, you try as a leader to be able to provide mentorship, and really tried hard, provided that. I think also, Alex's brother, truthfully, she disabled Sergeant E5, worked very hard, and she asked me to take care of her son. I tried my best. And I told her that I'd take care of him just like I'd take care of soldiers and try to be a leader. Tried multiple times. But if you ask it, why would I continue to be involved? That was it. It was at a personal request. I had the opportunity to meet Alex's mother out at Holly Gun Range, which is north of Fort Cavazos. And that's where I met her. She asked me for a personal favor. I gave her my word I did. And that's how we did that. So point blank. Second thing is, I think anybody that knows anything, and now that I know I've got a drill sergeant on the line, the whole story about the GI Bill, people probably need to really understand how that works. Because there's probably some reasons why he wasn't eligible for the GI Bill, and I don't want to go into that. It's not my public to go into that, but definitely was going to be eligible for the GI Bill.
Yeah, I was just more curious about how all of that worked. So going forward from here, talk to Alex. I've talked to Alex for probably 4 or 5 hours at this point over the phone, on the stream and whatnot. He sent me
one
over
time told you how he plans on paying back anyone that he owes money to, other than finding out about his favorite. Because here's the deal: we found out. Hold on, focus. We found out again, second time, what our favorite dessert is. We found out that we use Uber Eats. Okay, but here's the one thing we never find out: what's the repayment plan?
I don't know if I can tell it yet, because
you ever taken a payday loan?
He did tell me or show me some things, but I don't think he wants me to share those on stream. But he does have a wacky plan of making money and taking care of his customers.
Making money.
Yes, he does have. He has a wacky plan to get it all done.
Yeah,
and there's a
possibility. Hey, bro, trust me. I'm grinding. I live in New York.
Hey, tomorrow's plans are going to don't pay today's bills, right?
Yeah.
Well, so
let me ask you this. Like right now, you're using electricity, you're on the air, there's obviously some Wi-Fi, some way you're using this, right? I want you to stop paying your bills for 6 months and see if you can do what you're doing.
Right. Well, that was kind of what I wanted to at least bring it back to a little bit. Is the only person now that I've talked to AJ, I haven't talked to Jesus. Is Jesus available to chat at some point?
I'm sure he was. I'll be happy to arrange that for us.
Yeah, I mean, if he's around, I'd happy to bring him on right now if possible. I don't know if he's still awake or whatnot. But it's too late where he's at.
But hey, focus. Should we all call our attorney for 30 seconds and then call you right back and say that we can't talk about it? Although everyone's talking about it, since no one knows the January 9th date, although a constable issued him the order in his hands that he had to receive and sign for it.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know about any of that. So he did send me a screenshot after we got off. He did send me a screenshot. Let me see if I can pull it up there. He sent me a screenshot of him calling his lawyer today. So right at that time. So I think he called his lawyer, or he called somebody in his contacts named lawyer, right?
Right.
So okay, so what was I gonna say? So yeah, so there's a couple people that have really been hurt. Obviously, AJ, you're out a crap ton of money. Colonel, you're out a bit of money. Your reputations have been negatively affected, right? Allegedly by some of this stuff. Well, yeah, by being associated with
it's been
Trigger
fun at
Empires.
work. It's been fun at work, and tons of NCOs that officers are great, but non-commissioned officers make the best officers. I've had plenty of NCOs and sergeant majors call me like, "Sir, what the fuck, sir?"
Yeah, sir. I would have asked you what happened.
There you go. See,
I'm just
there
a
it
sergeant
is.
first class, but I would have been like, sir, come on, what is going on? You got some sort of deal. I'm just a lowly E7, but I would have been having some questions.
Which the lonely E7s run the Army, and so do our majors.
That is correct.
What do E5s do?
Don't let the junior officers forget it.
Yeah, well, you
what
good luck.
What do E5s do?
Good luck. That's why you have colonels and lieutenant colonels, to be able to talk to lieutenants. Say, hey, why don't you go back? When you go back to your platoon sergeant, okay? Before you count them, why don't you go find out?
Majors and lieutenant colonels are my favorite, sir. The lieutenant colonel of the Army or the major of the Army is like, okay, lieutenant. Okay, what's your second? What's your pace plan on that? Oh, might want to go talk to your first sergeant or your platoon sergeant real quick. So,
well, as soon as you teach Alex a pace plan on how to pay his bills, you're gonna need a double pace, because he's never gonna make the primary, the alternate, the contingency, or the extremis or emergency. You're gonna need pace squared, okay?
VS-17 lasso all the way.
And guess what? Don't bring an islet, because he won't know what the fuck it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, he's got about as much experience. Right. Here's the next thing. Why do you not decide to serve the country in which provided you housing? I heard about how, you're really shitty in the Army, because that comment was made not by me, but by him today. Right. I was a private in 1997.
Damn. You're saying Alex said that you were bad in the Army, sir?
No, Alex said we're all poor in the Army. You sergeant first class, me, I'm in the Army still, just like you.
Oh yeah, you're stupid if you work.
Yeah, that was said today, and so
I would just
are you a real colonel? I'm as a lowly E5. I just need to be able to talk to a colonel. Are you colonel? Are you a real colonel?
I'm a fake one.
Are you a fake one? Excellent. All right. So my experience with colonels is they're politicians in uniform. At least in my experience. I know you're probably not one, sir, but So I am floored by this whole situation. I really am.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm an irrelevant retard on the internet, right? You can see this helmet. I'm obviously stupid. Thank you. Are you a history buff?
Yeah, a bit of it.
Bit of it. Do you recognize the butt plug?
Well, I don't. That's only because my reading glasses and the screen's so small. I apologize. Let me see if I can figure out how to make you larger.
Do you speak German, sir?
World War I. Yeah, he's got.
You speak German?
Helmet.
No, I don't. Okay, I do see it.
Das ist gut,
ein
ja?
Pickelhaube. Das ist
sehr gut, mein Schatzi.
Oh, he loves this. We love it.
Yeah,
that was all. I'm listening to this, and I wanted to make a video on this. I want to give this man a firm handshake with a brick. This and mainly. And look, I don't know. Focus, please correct me if I'm crossing any legal boundaries. Okay, I'm not trying to get anyone.
All right, ready? No, I'll do it for you right now. Okay, these statements do not reflect anyone on this live stream except for Vintage, and he is only referencing these things as in a fictitious environment such as Minecraft. All right.
Thank you very much. All right, so this fucking troglodyte fuck. All right, so Alpha. Okay, this is why this is what I'm fixated on. Okay,
go ahead.
This man said, I mean, he was talking about not being able to feed his kids at a point. Okay, right. That makes me. I was like, I know this is gonna sound very TikTok girl, but I was like, fucking very mad when I heard about that.
Yep.
That is terrible shit. Focus, I think I talked to you a little bit about, I asked for some kind of donation thing because I wanted to do a video on this, but I don't want to, I don't understand the legal shit enough to do it. But that is fucking crazy. When I hear about this guy, I'm going to have a 10K a month apartment in New York.
Right.
No,
Right.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You should ask him. So let's hold right there. Keep the same momentum going because I like it. It's almost like we're doing PT, right? So, but here's what I want you. So ask him about the $12,000 a month house he wants to rent in Westlake here in Austin.
Oh,
what the
Westlake?
fuck?
Okay.
No, for real. Ask him to share the pictures, right? That him and Congressman McCall's son want to rent together.
Personally, I was wondering what the hell Alex was talking about.
Mind you, this is after this guy is the guy that went to go see Peter and Jackie. This guy is the guy that went to go buy candles. This guy is the reason why there's a receipt that I sent to Focus that Jackie hand wrote. Focus, you have it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason why we really know the amount that's owed.
I want to know what's up with this thing with Alex accusing the Aussies of stealing a trailer. That was bizarre.
So, Alex has been working on sending me a bunch of stuff that is anti-alpha tactical because they have gotten themselves in some trouble with different things. The $5,000
has nothing to do with this, though.
Well, but that's what I'm going to say is that sure, like, let's say even like, yeah, they were late on this payment, they were late on that payment, they had to borrow money here, do this, they couldn't pay this guy. The reason they can't pay people, Alex, is maybe because they're owed $9,100 or more, right? So it's if other people did bad things, right, it doesn't excuse you to do bad things to them. So they're still owed money, and them and Jesus are the two guys that are out the most, right? And it really affected his family negatively. And this is after being raided by the ATF due to the whole Texas suppressor thing. So he was already in a very low spot, and then gets hammered even lower, right? Where they're talking about begging for food at their local church to feed their kids, right? They're driving around a borrowed truck.
They did it. I went to go see them. The answer is yes. I went to go see them. Yes, they're not lying.
Well, and so people have been sending me things like, oh, Alpha Tactical, they've done this and this bad. But again, it's kind of irrelevant to the main point of it, right? And the whole Trigger Empire situation, that's different, right? And even if, because again, they didn't have payment. So Alpha Tactical, they started selling the design that Jesus had made, right, at shows and whatnot. But that's just to recoup their losses. So I don't even have a problem with them doing that.
Why do we have? I don't have a problem doing that.
Well, Rude, I asked if you want to come on the show, Rude, because Rude is one of the guys who's anti-Alpha Tactical. So I actually want to talk to him as well. So
there we go.
I will bring you on, sir.
One of those accusations right there.
You got to get a hat.
Because I would like to know. Yeah, it is a hat stream. AJ is the only one who doesn't have to wear a hat.
Since we're on here capping, I figured we'd bring the caps out.
Yeah,
that's right. Talking about that fundraiser you were saying, Vintage, is that we did that stream that we did with those guys. It took it from $0 to $1,200. So
that's
just that one
excellent.
video that we did.
That's a big deal, yeah, brother.
Yeah. So I messaged Jackie about that. Jackie was very happy with that. So it's a little chunk of change for Christmas, I suppose.
I mean, it's better. I mean, I was sitting there when I first heard about it. I mean, the way it was coming off, like, this dude have grocery money? Like, it's. I mean, that's straight up during the holidays. Like, fuck Christmas season. If you say holidays, you're gay. Fuck you. During the Christmas season, okay. Like, I'm thinking about this guy not being able to, feed his kids, right? Like, that's my first thought. And I see this guy who reminds me of every con fuck that I've ever seen. It personally irked me. I'm gonna put it to you there. All right, that's where it's at.
I'm just trying to figure out where this plays into the Garantham wedding vows. Like, at what point does Garantham start doing his wedding vows? And at what point does this guy come into play?
Was Alex one of the people he was cheating on his wife with, or what?
I actually think that Alex might have been one of the sperm donors as well, but it's for Garantham's wife, his soon-to-be ex-wife. So I think Alex was providing sperm to her.
Are you sure he's not donated sperm? I mean, this might have been going on a lot longer than you think.
it's confusing. I mean, guys, I know we have a lot of caps on tonight, but it's not as many caps as Grantham had on during his marriage. So not to be confused with bagging it, because he clearly wasn't bagging anything other than his lies.
I have a question. Yesterday's stream, or 2 days ago, when the gentleman came on and said he actually had a text message from Alex saying, "Hey, by the way, thanks for making me rich." This is after he had received cease and desist letters for infringing on the design. Can AJ or Julie, do you guys have any idea? Did you know any of that was going on? The back and forth between Alex and Rare Breed?
I don't.
So was that the situation with the Lawrence DeMonico trigger infringement stuff?
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My Bluetooth kicked on. So can we talk? So which guy is this? Is this the one from the trade show in Allen, or who are we talking about?
Rare breed triggers. Yeah.
No.
Oh, I don't know anything about rare breed triggers.
I'm getting some feedback.
What happened with rare breed triggers?
I don't know where that echo's coming from.
That was
Hold on, that's for me. Yeah, it's off.
Okay.
Go for it, guys. Sorry.
Okay, perfect. No problem.
No shit.
No
What the hell? Hold on.
No, you're okay. Sometimes turning Bluetooth audio.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna mute you for a second.
Hey, Clay.
Right. Yes.
Hey, I'm going to ask you something.
Number one.
I trust you a lot. You helped me buy my first AK, as a matter of fact, when I called you, which was Squared Away. For those of you who haven't heard, Squared Away means you took care of me. So you were at a gun show and you saw Trigger Empire folks there selling triggers, the little the AR triggers, and then taking deposits for the Kono trigger that will never come to market, point blank. I'll ensure it never comes to fucking market. It will never come to market, but they're still taking deposits. And then I was told selling other components, but then I was told that what you saw an optical illusion.
Well, I back when Alex was on, I spammed the chat one time and just asked. I know that Focus couldn't ask, otherwise Alex wouldn't answer it or jump off the screen.
I had a
know
million questions to ask. I know.
But my big question right now is if I mean, let's be honest, Colonel. I basically told you and Alex at the same time, I'd rather not talk to any of you anymore when all that happened. Just all due respect, I just wanted to remove myself from that sketchy situation. So
I still have the text, and that is
right
almost
after
verbatim.
all of that happened. I think one of the last messages you sent was, "Hey, by the way, Trigger Empire is no more. It's gone. Alex is removed." And I just, as you know, I stopped responding at that point. It was weeks after that. There's a local gun show out here, and I'm there with my wife, and I see a friggin' Trigger Empire booth with two guys that I didn't recognize. And, meeting you guys, the only three gentlemen I ever met was Julian, Alex, and Jesus. And these were two guys I'd never seen before working a Trigger Empire booth. Of course, nothing was on the table. There were no products to sell, but they were selling triggers that they were taking money. And then whenever the triggers would materialize, you may get one. It's the same thing that's been happening for like a year and a half with Trigger Empire. So my biggest question is, what actually happens right now if someone goes to a random gun show and doesn't know about any of this, even to this day? If they pay these guys that are working for Alex $500, $600, whatever the imaginary number is, to get you close to an expensive, full auto transferable experience, what happens? Because people are, they're paying for booth space at gun shows.
Yep.
If they're going to 10 gun shows every couple of months, if they're turning over 1% of the people that come to the booth, that's still hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. What happens to that? Well,
I'd love
that's
to
still
know
happening
too.
right now.
Yeah.
Today.
Exactly.
Good point.
You think
And
this
it's wrong.
retard is watching this right now?
He is.
Yeah, he is.
Alex is still
Okay,
messing
cool.
throughout this. So
Oh,
Dude,
good.
imagine watching the stream of your demise while we're wearing different hats. That's awesome.
There is a guy in the chat I want to point out too as well. Moose66. Moose, we go way back. It's been a while. Alex owes him money as well.
Well, Moose, get
Yeah.
on the stream. Everybody wants to hear about it.
Not only does he owe money, but
Moose
he owes
is a
the
very
triggers.
secretive guy, so I doubt he will. I know he likes his privacy, but
Dang.
Moose
Get on a
is owed
balaclava
money
and
for a
come on the
lot
stream,
of
dude.
T&E on his personal firearms that he still is out. And who does Moose go to for that? Moose
Yeah,
is a
well,
guy that was lending firearms.
That's correct. And so,
So-
what I would tell you is, you know what? Not only that, he's owed 4 triggers, just like yourself, because you made a personal trip down here to meet us.
Oh, you guys don't owe me anything. Let's just get that.
Okay.
You guys owe me
All
nothing.
right. Well, I'm just saying that was same thing for me. In other words, we said, hey, here's what we can do. We won't do it, as you said, but I know it was a debt that we created. How about I should say that it was a debt created and a debt that won't be able to be paid, I guess.
Yeah, and let's just set the record straight. Like when we had our meeting, the whole reason I even wanted anything to do with this, I make AK content.
Yep.
I film all kinds of stuff, do how-tos on how to open and close the shutty thing on AKs or whatever the fuck. Make AK videos.
Yep.
It's a prototype thing that hasn't come to fruition that I thought would be really cool to film. It's a naughty forced reset trigger. I film prototype stuff all the time. All the time. Prototype AKs still to this day that haven't come out, but I filmed them.
Yep.
So I thought this would be another really cool thing. And Colonel can tell you there's no money exchange. There was no, hey, we'll give you this for a good review. There was none of that. Once the review was done and Alex saw how it went, Alex was very upset that I criticized. He was very upset that I criticized the price.
That's right.
And that I say in the video that this was not a drop-in like they're saying. This took a lot of finagling. This took a guy driving 6 hours and 3 AKs to get to work.
Yep.
But we got it to work. And didn't like that at all. So that's just what it was. And then to throw salt on the wound, I try to, be as honest as I can on my channel, the best way I know how. I make this video about this trigger that is getting glazed up hardcore by TFB TV and this big gun event, giving these guys trophies. And then what happens? Not even the next day, all these people are saying, yo, these dudes owe me money. And no, I had no idea. Nobody knew. So imagine,
welcome to the crowd about the not knowing the money part.
Sure, yeah. Just it's
you try to tell the truth, but you're
on everybody's face. Honestly, anyone who's just in this for curiosity, like I was, huge egg in my face. I mean, it's kind of like a taint on the channel as far as I'm concerned. And that video is still up. I've changed the title. I've done as much as I can to try to steer people away from that nonsense. But honestly, I'm probably going to take the video down because knowing that they're still out there doing this at gun shows, if people don't read the description on that video or that new title, it's probably just bad news to keep it up.
What's the best way in this, other than this forum? AJ and I personally have driven now to gun shows and literally stood there and said, hey, this is not coming to fruition. I mean, we were at the Fort Worth gun show. We drove there personally ourselves. AJ went to the Allen gun show. As a matter of fact, he's got video of it to say, hey, don't do that. The hard part is, Texas is large, and honestly, I can't drive gun show to gun show. But if there's a way to be able to get this out, I mean, there's no issue.
Yeah, so I've talked to Alex about getting the information from the 50. He says it's 53. I think in your guys' documents, it's 66 people that haven't gotten their triggers yet in terms of the prepayment guys. And he said that he's going to take care of that. But again, I would like that information to be out there for as many people as possible so that these people have the highest chance of actually getting taken care of, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, Focus, I told you we would do it. And that's all I can say.
Right, but you guys need that information.
Hey, Moose is in the chat. He said he'll come on.
Yeah, Moose wants to get on.
Well, Moose, yeah, just send me either an email at focustrip@gmail.com or send me an DM on Instagram or something like that, and I will send you a link to hop on here, sir, because I'd be happy to chat about it.
This is a rare appearance.
Hey, Focus, I'll make some space for Moose. Hey, guys, if you're watching this in chat, make sure you leave a like down below and comment your favorite meme about the Garand Thumb drama. Thanks for being here, guys. And until next time, it's going to be Trench Grenade, your average weirdo with a million hats on, signing out. Cheers. Peace,
Have a
guys.
good night, man.
Hey, Focus,
Peace.
have a good night.
You too. Thank you. All right, so yeah, we'll wait for Moose. I think he'll eventually send me an email or something to get on here.
Yeah, no, Clay, and everything you've said, it's been verbatim, not only in what you said, probably verbatim of the text messages and also in actions.
Yeah, and again, Colonel, you've always been super cool, super polite. It's just a shame that we met under these circumstances. That's all I would say.
But I would say this: had this not have happened, I wouldn't have met AJ. I'm grateful to have him in my life. Great business partner. Number two, you know, I wouldn't have met so many folks. I wouldn't have met Mr. John Wong. I wouldn't have met you. You know, I wouldn't have. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have owned an AK because, you know, I've shot ARs for such a long time.
Literally.
Well, now you got one. Welcome to
right?
the dark side of neck-bearded trash shooters.
So, well, I mean, it's good. And so, bottom line is the whole community that's opened up.
Right.
And that's the only way I'm gonna look at it as a positive. We'll get over this hump and continue to work in the industry.
Yeah, the AK community is a lot like the B forum on 4chan. Like, you goof up one time, you'll never hear the end of it. It's just the way she goes.
Yeah, well, I think we just, well, you know what? Sometimes you got the way I look at it, this publicity is publicity. Continue to try to make it right, and that's the only thing that I can do. That's the only thing that as a team we can do. That's it. That is it. And where public perception goes is where public perception goes. We're Americans, and we get the opportunity to have free will, freedom of speech protected by the Second Amendment.
I had a question going back a bit. So there was an allegation that Alex had stolen an AK. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. So bottom line is we have an influencer in Houston, phenomenal person that has been just kind of like Clay, so, you know, wanted to try it out, didn't get paid, didn't do anything. Bottom line is this individual's, it was a mini Draco, which the trigger does not work in mini Draco. Okay, so anybody that has one, don't buy it.
Of course it was a Draco.
Hey,
of course
listen,
it was a fucking
Dracos are
Draco.
God tier, and I will stand behind that forever.
Oh, I know.
Let's
I
put a
love
Draco fight
Dracos.
right
It's
now.
just, of course, it was a fucking Draco. Go ahead.
So bottom
Good
line
gun.
is it was stuck. When I say stuck closed, I think it was, you know, either rusted closed, but brand new weapon, never been fired, right out of the box. And a week later, I would go into TriggerCon. This individual trusted me with it. I took it to TriggerCon, and one of the master armors there had asked Troy Turner, who's the director of operations, hey, would you mind one of your guys fixing it? I'll pay for it. This individual came and helped us out, create content. They did it and ended up not asking me to pay for it, fixed it, and it gave it back. And so brought it back after TriggerCon and made multiple attempts. Now, I will say this, we as a Trigger Empire team made multiple attempts to return the weapon. Anyway, the last time that I made an attempt was October 27th. My parents do live in the Houston area. And the influencer wasn't able to make it to me on or around the 28th or 29th, I think, which is a Monday or Tuesday. Alex let me know he was going to Houston. I handed over the weapon. Have never seen it since then.
Interesting.
And it's never made it back. Never made it back.
Yeah, Alex alleged, anyways. He told me that it was in your safe as of right now. So he says he doesn't have it. That's his story.
Yeah. Well, I would tell you this. That's not the case, but people can come in here and check whatever. Now, I will tell you this, that when all this comes to light, I've actually already, now here's one thing about responsibility. That individual trusted me with that weapon. It was my responsibility to return that weapon. I lost control of the weapon. Hence, I paid for the loss of that weapon. I'm the one that's out, I think, $1,000. I don't have the weapon. I haven't seen the weapon since the 28th or 29th.
So you bought the guy a new Draco?
No, I can't do that, but I paid $1,000.
Paid the money for it?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yes, I did. And that right there, AJ, you're on the text messages with, I don't want to mention the influencer, but it's been paid. And I made sure that was right. And here's the thing, the bottom line is that individual trusted me, and I let the weapon out of my possession. That's my own fault. I paid it off.
Gotcha.
Sir, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Figuring out StreamYard real quick.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, no problem.
please do.
Was the Draco gold plated?
No, it literally had just come out of like the box. It was, still wood, and matter of fact, it was so new that it still had, I think, what's the piece? The charge, I don't know. We use the charging.
Oh, the
handle
Sentry
bar.
condom. Still have the Sentry condom on the
Yes, it
charging
still
handle.
had still.
You got to leave that in for
still
the rap
brand new.
video for the baby daddy.
So
Understood. Thank you for the response.
yeah, no problem.
All right, so I think we're just waiting for Moose.
But yeah,
to hop in here.
that's the story right there. And so bottom line is we haven't seen it. We don't know where it is. And I'm not going to ask somebody that trusted me with their weapon. So I sent him the money. I Venmo'd him two $500 Venmos.
Okay, gotcha. AJ, did you ever have any interaction with Alpha Tactical or any of those guys?
I did actually. My first interaction with Peter and Jackie was actually this last weekend, or the Fort Worth Gun Show. It was a week ago, or essentially whatever, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that was the first time I actually got to meet them. I thought they're really nice people. I mean, Peter was hung out with Peter for at least an hour, at the booth. Seen him selling the devices and stuff. And I heard you guys earlier said if we had a problem with them selling the devices. I know I didn't. I mean, I seen them selling them, and they were hot, and Peter was walking me through everything, and honestly, we just hung out. As a matter of fact, at the end of the trade show, we were talking about potentially partnering up and coming and bringing some accessories to the market, not specifically AK, but AK as well, but even other things like the 1022 that Peter makes. He makes this amazing lower, the 1022, all tactical and stuff like that. Just like you guys mentioned, he's having some financial difficulties at the moment and stuff, and he was looking for somebody that can help bring these ideas to life. As an investor and as a businessman with a lot of connections, manufacturing connections, I offered my service, and I think we left it off where I was going to try to help him and partner with him to even bring some of these designs to life. So no, I like these guys a lot. It's the first time ever meeting them. He invited me over to his house, to hang out and do some things and see some things and do some shooting and stuff. And like I said, I was
Send him the invite again.
Yeah.
Oop. Sorry, let me mute Kamaz real fast while he's on the phone. Sorry, go ahead. So they're real personable people, right? So kind of guys you can just hang out and chat with.
Right. Alex had a lot of negative things to say. And once again, he tries to pin people against each other, so he's telling me all this negativity about them. But when I hung out with Jackie, Jackie and Peter, but mostly Peter, I thought he was a cool guy. Like, these are my kind of people. Like, yeah, I got a little suit on today. I'm doing some real estate and whatnot, but I'm a normal guy, I mean, I go out shooting and stuff, so these are my peoples, actually, I'm an American, bro. This is my peoples and stuff. I'm driving around Oklahoma today. I love this stuff, so I like them a lot.
I have an interesting question. Long term, if they're selling a trigger system similar to yours, do either of you have any interest in shutting them down, or is that just you're just going to let them do their thing?
No, actually, what I want to do, and we didn't get to that conversation, and I don't want to speak for my partners, but I know we briefly talked about it, but we always had the impression that we were going to license them the patent, so they can do their thing and work together, like it's a big, small industry, we're all trying to get along and stuff. I'm not trying to make no enemies. I don't rise the ranks of the cannabis game, burning bridges, so I'm not going to do the same in the firearm community.
Yeah, is that an interesting jump for you, coming from hemp and cannabis to firearms, specifically forced reset triggers? Because it's kind of like two legally gray areas at times, right? Depending on where you are, what state, all that sort of fun stuff.
And then that's why I felt like I was the right guy for the job, because I've been accustomed to that for the last 20 years, working with cannabis and hemp, so yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, as long as you follow the laws, right? We have lawyers, we follow the laws. North Texas judge ruled on it and said it's legal. I'm right here in the Frisco area. I'm over here at my house right now, and so I'm in the safest area. I think the Colonel published the other day, right, Colonel, how many states are not approved? 12 or 13 states. It's on our website. We have no intentions to soliciting to these states, so we're trying to operate within the confines of the law. I think the Colonel and myself and Jesus, we have a lot to lose. We're all family men. We all have families. We all make business. This is not something that I'm not in this business to be short-lived. FRT is just one aspect. Like I said, we're going to be making, accessories specifically for the AK platform, because I noticed the limitations right now that I'm an AK owner, like just like the Colonel said, I'm an AR guy. In Iraq, don't get it twisted though. In Iraq, I had friggin' 2 SKSs, 2 AK-74s, and like friggin' 10 AK-47s that I acquired throughout my tour in Iraq, and even used them in combat when my rifle went down because my 203 grenade launcher got blown up. So, or blew off the launching thing. So anyway, so I mean, I don't hate the AK, but I've never thought about owning one. So now that I actually
Right, it's not your primary platform.
Right, but now that I'm getting into it, and I'm like, oh shit, and then I started looking for accessories, and I noticed that there's not that many accessories out there. So I'm looking forward to work with the Colonel, Jesus, Peter, and anybody else out there that wants to help us, make it more customizable so we can have more fun with it.
Gotcha. Very cool.
Hey, Focus, before y'all continue, I'm going to go play some Hell Let Loose later. All I know is this Alex guy, he's got a thing coming. He's got a thing coming. And yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it. Have a good night, gentlemen.
What a pain in the donkey dick.
What was that?
The fuck was that?
That was Moose.
That's funny.
Well, welcome to the stream. I'll make room for you. All right. Anyways.
Thanks for coming on.
Bye. Yeah, no, interesting. Bye-bye.
Yeah, have a good night.
Later, bro. And honestly, guys, how Alex had said some stuff, and I'm not trying to throw no shade. Real talk, I really have no issues with the guy. This is just business. I invested money into a company. He withheld, negative financial things about the company that would have impacted my decision to invest in the company ultimately, right? And now I'm planning, and now that I'm in the company and I'm out, I'm pushing close to 100,000 right now, But for sure, when we had talked and when I filed suit, it was about 74,000 and some change. So if you had Jesus on there and you had the Colonel, we're already at what? It was like $125 or $130.
I think so. And that's before lawyers' fees and stuff like that.
Right.
Gets thrown into it after.
And then that was before the Colonel was paying back the AK. That was before we're paying off these customers and everything else. And like I said, the Colonel. Yeah.
Can I ask what are you hoping to get out of the lawsuit?
Ultimately, Alex put me in a tough situation. I had no intentions on wanting to actually run this company. Again, I'm working on a lot of things in the background for industrial hemp, and I'm on the, I work in politics. I'm also a lobbyist, not at trade, but I just do it as a necessity for my industry.
Right.
So I'm working with some a lot of politicians and stuff in different states right now. So, with that being said, I had no intentions of running the company. That was supposed to be Alex's job. But because of everything that transpired, I've kind of got forced into taking lead on this company. And once again, I had no intentions of wanting to do so, but at the request of the Colonel and Jesus, I basically volunteer my time. So ultimately, what we need to do is we need to get control over the bank accounts that have my money in it. This will allow me to start working on making it right with all the customers so we can, and actually, even with that being said, the money I invested into the company, that was supposed to go towards our manufacturing and not in China, in America, right? And the Colonel helped set that up. I helped close the deal, and we were stoked. Even Jesus and even Alex were even excited to know what me and the Colonel were able to do to bring it back to America. Because I don't want to bring that shit to Mexico or China. I mean, China was out the option. My Chinese attorneys told me that's illegal, put me in prison in China. American people said the same thing. I was not going to mess with it. So then I said, let's look into Mexico, we looked into Mexico, and ultimately, right around this time, and I gave some leads for California. I got guys with CNC machines down there in LA and stuff. So, but ultimately, the Colonel pulled in reputable manufacturer here in Austin area. And
anyway, we looked at them. It's Athena, I believe. Yeah, we talked about them Saturday night, I want to say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Professional outfit. So anyway, so in order to start manufacturing this next batch, I had to invest even more money, right? Because if I was to wait for this January 9th to get back the money that I put in so I can start manufacturing, so I can get all you guys back what you're owed, even though I'm not the one who owes it to you, but just in a sign of good faith of like, hey, y'all don't know who I am. I'm AJ. I'm a big dude in a lot of different industries. I love this industry as well. I'll get you guys back your triggers. But I don't think that I'm the one that was at fault for making this happen. But I can't do that if I don't go into my manufacturing run. So that money sitting in the accounts was allocated for that run. So now I put more money into the next run. I had to allocate another 100 G's and stuff just to get the friggin' first batch going. And it's just kind of put me back a little bit. So what I'm hoping to do is basically rid myself with Alex, fix all the drama he did in a company that I don't even care about, like Trigger Empire, close it down. Trigger Empire never had the patents for nothing. And work with the Colonel and Jesus with Texas Triggers, and look forward to offering, lifetime warranties and free shipping and a whole bunch of other incentives, because we're all about doing good business.
Yeah, and I think that's a way to build back a good reputation if you can actually take care of the people that were hurt by Trigger Empire, because that's a big stigma to get away from, right? I mean, Clayco's been trying to get away from that as well with the video, and then the makeup video essentially being like, hey, this isn't my fault. We're talking about kind of a sleazy company going on and not sticking to their promises.
I don't think we shouldn't even use the word kinda.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's just call it. Let's come on now. We're all adults. Let's call it what it is. That's the way it was run. That's why we're shutting it down. And we have probably about 365 days of hard work ahead of us, just to be able to, before we can even say we have something that people, product wise, the product's going to work. But we want it to be where it's like, oh yeah, it's a good company, not, oh, it's that company tied to this. And so we've got an uphill battle, point blank. We have an uphill battle to be able to do that. And I think at every turn, we need to make sure that, where there's an easy left, we take the hard right.
Yeah.
Good way to put it.
Yeah, and so for everybody in the chat right now, so Colonel has offered to bring me out in March after you sell out of your first run, and we're going to go, because they've been talking about it in the chat as well, so we should address that, to give them the 10K 5, whatever it is that they're owed, plus a little bit.
It's $9,100 owed. We think we'll pay at that point, interest-wise. AJ and I and Jesus have talked. We sell our very first run. We'll fly out here, as I'd mentioned, on the very first, I say podcast, but live stream, and we'll go do that. I mean, we'll just get it done.
Yeah, and that's going to be March, roughly. I think you guys said you're having your first run end of February.
End of February is what we're looking for. So we said end of March is when we look to have you out.
Yeah. So in that time frame, we'll get them everything back. And if I were a betting man, and I was having to say which one of these people is going to pay Alex back first. Or pay Alpha Tactical back first, between Alex and Texas Triggers. I know which way I'd put my money.
Would you bet $9,100?
That's a bad bet. That's a bad bet to make. So, well, I don't think Moose is going to be able to make it. But before I say goodnight to all you gents, is there anything you guys would like to add?
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, appreciate the hats there, partners.
That was quite a fun part of the stream. Everybody switching hats. So Colonel AJ, thank you. Very nice to meet you, AJ, as well. Yeah. Telling your side of the story. Kind of, this is just about everything. I kind of wish I could have gotten into more with Alex, but I understand that him and his lawyers are advising him not to do much in that regard. So, but I really appreciate everybody coming, giving their time, explaining all this, because as long as all of this is public, I think it's going to give people a better understanding of what's going on.
Yep.
So.
It'd be interesting to see if that attorney was the criminal attorney or the civil suit attorney.
Oh, he went there.
I just asked it. In other words, is it the civil suit attorney or is it the criminal suit attorney?
Right.
We call it.
His public defender.
I'm just asking.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's a little
simple
spicy.
Question.
Well, so if people want an update to that, it's going to be in January 9th, I think, is the civil. If I'm not mistaken. So early January. Yeah.
January 9th. January the 9th is the date. You've known it since I spoke Friday. AJ used the same date. It's amazing to me that someone that's been served by a constable didn't have the date, didn't know the date.
I think we will probably follow up on this probably a little after that. I might talk to Peter and the Alpha Tactical guys again before then, but as for now, I think that this was a good illuminating stream. So I appreciate everybody's time here. Clay, Kalash, Colonel, and AJ. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Of course, thank you.
Have a good night.
Yep, you guys have a wonderful night. All right. Well, chat, I am going to finish up with you here. me get these guys. That was good. You know, because I hadn't talked to AJ before. Obviously, I talked to Colonel. Everybody else got their inputs on it, but that filled in a few puzzles. I couldn't get Moose in. Moose's phone couldn't work with StreamYards. So there are a lot of super chats, though, and I really appreciate it. And I also didn't want to read these super chats with some of the people on screen, if that makes sense. Some of them are a little spicy. So we will go through them, just us. Okay, and I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. I hope you're all having a wonderful Christmas, a wonderful Christmas time. I think Wednesday is the day we'll be flying out just after that to get back home. But yes, I'm gonna read everybody's super chat. I tried. So all I have are beanies and like trucker hats. That's all I have. So you guys had a very limited selection. I tried to get a good one. All right. Let's see. Mitchell Black for $1.99. Thank you very much, sir. Says, gotta get them reparations somehow. Well, he's French, so he's looking for the wrong people. Vintage says, Merry Christmas, everyone. Christ is King. Based and Christmas pilled. Thank you, Vintage. Garrett Belknap for $4.99 says, get him hooked up with 2A Pro. 10K in 10 days. He can pay his debts back in no time. Yeah, that's actually good. Alex plus Tacticon. You know, maybe that's the killer wombo combo. Maybe he can get on there and run that department for them. Could probably do a good. He honestly probably could do a good job. Mitchell Black for another $4.99 says, John, you need to humble yourself and kneel before this struggling black king. Well, he's only half black. Nick for $2 says, Alex, you're a no good thief. This won't go away. Nick's not happy with... Nick's a machinist, so taking money from machinists and their families is probably not going to sit well with him. Mitchell Black for $4.99 says, get to the part where Walt Disney didn't park his animators, so didn't pay his animators, so eventually all their families starved. Oh, wait a minute. Ooh. Mitchell Black for $1.99 says, which culture taught you how to steal? Israeli flag. Probably not related. Mitchell Black for $1.99 says, chat, making these gun tubers hold their breath. No, the chat was very good. You guys were very, very funny tonight. I appreciate it, gentlemen. 2 weeks paid off. That's amazing. You guys want the Garantham ass recording? I'd have to find it. I think I have it still. Well, I mean, I have everything, so maybe I can. Give me just a second. I'll find it. You guys want it? Grand. Nope, not that one. GT? I could pull up that part of the stream. I don't... Oh, wait, no. You know what? It's probably in, like... It's probably in its own folder, honestly. Pictures? Where did I put it? I wonder where that is. Yeah, dude, several people have requested it, so let me see if I can find it. No? Where did I put it? I don't know if I still have it. I'd have to find it in the stream, so it'll take a minute. Mitchell Black for $1.99. Oh yeah, that's holding their breath. Yes, indeed. Bumani Igloo for $5 says something. Shoot, can I copy and paste? Dude, I can't even copy and paste from this. I wish they would let me do that. Viewer activity is probably, it's got to be so far back. 1016, a little bit further back. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, so I can copy and paste from here. So let's see. What does Bomani Igloo say for $5? Translation. For $5. Oh my gosh. Come on. Come on. German to English. Nope. That's not it. We will figure this out together. It's probably something very racist. Oh, a little flower is blooming on the heath, and it's called Erica. That was actually quite nice. Mitchell Black for $1.99 says, Alex, do Black Lives Matter? I would think you would say yes. Bruda Miranda for $2. Thank you very much. Says, good one, Focus. I hope so. I hope that was entertaining. We got Alex's backstory and then everything else. So Nick for $5 says, I don't care if your lawyer is a militant Buddhist from Nepal. He ain't answering the phone at 9:45 p.m. the night before Christmas Eve. I mean, lawyers work all the time, right? They got to get their blood-sucking money somehow. But I get that. Josh for $5 says, the hater cannot stand that I ponder about ube cheesecake. I also ponder the ube cheesecake. You know, now I feel like I should get it and post a picture of it just so that it's like an inside joke from now on. Ube cheesecake. Grifting Gamer for $5 says, German, lol. He's as German as a rat born in a fish tank as a fish. There's something there. I get what you mean, sir. Mitchell Black for $4.99 says, who's going to join the panel next? A realtor selling oceanfront property in Arizona? Maybe a traveling snake oil salesman. Yeah, the people involved in this are so strange, right? The group of these people is as varied and straight. Like, I wouldn't think like hemp to weed to AKFRTs, right? That jump is strange. The only thing they have in common is like the legal gray area, right? Very interesting. Bomani Igloo for $5 says, did Bibi Netanyahu give us permission to discuss this? They're our greatest ally and need our money. We should be sending them stuff instead. All right, Bomani. Bomani's being spicy in the chat. Tap Rack Stovepipe for $1.99 says, we should all just have third hole triggers. Yeah. In the ideal world, none of this would even be a consideration, right? It'd be like, duh, right? Like, who doesn't? You don't have a full auto? Like, you're lame or something. Trent Salute says, Sal for $2. Thank you very much. Mitchell Black for $1.99 says, you guys got hoodwinked. Just admit it. Well, so I did see this a lot in chat. Quite a bit. Was like, how do you give this guy so much money and not look into him like at all? Right? Because I think AJ knew him a little bit from hemp and he was like making some money in hemp. But to upfront invest almost $100,000, like that is a ton of money. Full auto should be what semi is. Yep, exactly. AJ was, yeah, hemp and hemp, weed, that sort of thing. And that's where him and Alex kind of ran into each other. Mitchell Black for $1.99. Oh, yeah. You guys just got hoodwinked. Admit it. Yeah. I mean, if everything is true, again, big if, right? This is all going to get settled in court. So that should be fun to watch. If we could stream that live, that would also be fun. Yeah. So, Grifting Gamer for $2 says, feed the Aussie kids, you grifting whores. Well, I tentatively will be flying out in March to give Peter and Jackie $10,000. So I think they are going to get it. If I was a betting man, if I had to choose, Alex or Texas Triggers got the money. Alex has got a plan, but he's had lots of plans. So if I were a betting man, the first person to give Alpha Tactical their money that they're owed is probably going to be Texas Triggers. And hopefully I'll be there, right? Get that done for them. Oh no, this is where these super chats started. Bulge Deep in Vagina says, given the Colonel bedroom eyes. Yeah, I saw a lot of people. Chat was very happy with the Colonel's appearance tonight. That was very nice of him. Nick says they should give it to them. I agree 100% morally. Like, that's what I would do. But I also don't know their financial situation because they obviously have a lot tied up in these triggers as well. So I don't, I would do it now because now is the best. So I get where the complaints are. But as long as they do it, right? As long as they do it, Peter and Jackie, people are supporting them right now. They'll make it to March. If they actually do it in March, when they get the $10,000 this month or next month, it's not that big of a difference, right? So I want it. As long as they get it, right? So I have a tentative agreement that they're flying me out in March to give them money, right? If they did it today, even better. But at least we're relatively certain that it will be doing. Yeah, bulge deep in vagina says, I had no idea what's going on. I just felt like trolling. You were very funny. We got a lot of these to get to. Mitchell Black for 199 says, I want to salute Colonel Sanders for his service. Yeah, so I asked Trench about that. I was like, how does that work? You're both active military. You're an E7. He's a colonel. Like, are you two supposed to be hanging out? And I think the answer is actually no, but I'm not sure how that works digitally. So, interesting situation. Because, yeah, it's like, wait, are you a real colonel? Mitchell Black for 199 says, Trench, are you a steer or a queer? I think we know the answer to that, Mitchell. Bulge deep in vagina says, shit dog. I always did business medicinal benefits. Business medicinal benefits. Yeah. Good kid, though. Mitchell Black for 199 says, 18 naked cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch. Yeah, the Ram Ranch comments were very good. That was very funny. That was a good, because AJ did go on some monologues, which is perfectly fine. He's giving his side of the story that we hadn't heard before. He's answering all of our questions. That was fine, right? But everybody putting on hats during that stream was very funny. Very funny. All right. Bulge deep in vagina says, no, honestly, I do lots of business. Yeah. So a lot of people in the chat were saying that AJ comes off as like the sleazy businessman looking guy because he's in his suit, he's in his car, he's getting driven around and whatnot, right? And he is, for all intents and purposes, the money behind it, right? The money in hemp, at least, you know, from what he's saying and whatnot. So yeah, I think he was giving that vibe to people in the chat. Either way, he's out a lot of money. Oh my gosh, bulge deep. Better to deep in vagina says, this AJ guy talks like an N and is mad boring. He was given his story, man. Be nice to the gentleman. And he came on the stream, right? He's a businessman and he decides to come on a Z-list YouTuber stream about some controversy that he got himself embroiled in by giving a kid 6 figures, right? So kudos to him for coming on. Yeah, Detective John Kibble says, still working on the grand film. I really want to see it. Recording. Yeah, I'll find it because it's in my YouTube video. So we'll get that at the end. Remind me at the end, and that's how we'll get there. Mitchell Black says, what kind of gay bar is this? I don't know what site you clicked on there, sir. Oh my gosh. Budge deep in vagina says, vintage, tell this N word to shut up. Not very nice, sir. AJ, we get it, bro. You lost hella shekels. Yeah, well, I mean, hey, if I lost 6 figures, you know, maybe I would also go on a monologue about how this guy screwed me out of 6 figures. So, I mean, think about it. That's like $1,000 a minute. Logan sucks at shooting says, screw this AJ guy. Hat stream is best stream. Yeah, the chat didn't like AJ talking, but the reason I brought him on was to talk. You know? So I wanted to hear his side of the story because I hadn't talked to him before. I would like to talk to Moose. I would like to talk to Jesus. But this should probably be the end of that for now. Weekend Slide, HSW, who hates vintage. If I remember correctly, you hate vintage, don't you? Or vintage hates you, one way or the other. Sends 199, says nothing. But I'm pretty sure you two have beef. I don't know why. H-Town Werewolf for $10 says, Clayco looking juicy. Clayco's also looking juicy. His wife was sending me stuff during the stream about the little hats and whatnot as everybody was changing hats. I thought that was very cute. Weekend Slide says, yes, I hate him. Well, let me know why. Let me bring you on and chastise you publicly. We could do that. Out of Focus is probably Radio Autist. No, Out of Focus Clips is Richard. Different. They're different. Similar, but different. Nick thinks I'm your wife. Definitely not my wife, Richard. Nope. Not happening. Not happening. Yeah. Thick, juicy Clayco or whatever H-Town said. Logan sucks at shooting. For $2 says hat. Yes, hat stream is best. Bulge Deep in Vagina for 199 says, people who annoy you. Yeah. Mitchell Black for 199 says, when will Julian admit Alex is a bad person? I feel like everybody's been very nice in their wording towards Alex. And Alex has been talking to me, right? So Alex has also been saying crazy things about some of these other people. Some things I wanted to get into on stream, which I think would have been wild, but I think we're just going to have to wait because I think it would have been fun to talk about it live with everybody on. But yeah, I think we'll have to wait on some of it. Some very wild stuff, some wild accusations floating around. Mitchell Black for 199 says, I'm not voting for that homosexual nonsense. I think, oh, sorry, I just noticed I still had that poll up. I think that was for the poll that I did where it was a night with Alex or Diddy. And Diddy actually ended up winning. Absolutely rough. Bulge Deep in Vagina says, AJ gave them dome. AJ's catching lots of flack. Bulge Deep in Vagina says, switching to your CBD is faster than reloading. Really taking it to these guys. I pinned it down. AJ talks like Kip from Napoleon, D. I didn't get that vibe, but I know what you mean. Me and Trench got beef. You just don't know it yet. Yeah. Every time I bring on Trench or Austin, like it's always like there's 10% of people are just anti, like, I hate these clowns, get rid of them, which is fine. It's fine to have people on who are controversial or who are going to say things to rile up the chat, right? That starts conversations. That's how fun things happen, right? And they have different perspectives than I do, so it's good to have them on. My favorite part of the stream was when I asked Alex to cite his sources after he said, don't believe you people unless they cite their sources. And he was like, let me consult my attorney. Man, it was a great stream. Don't get me wrong, but it could have been even crazier if they had, if we had been allowed to like talk to Alex about everything, because the allegations would have been wild. Absolutely wild. Okay. Let me pull this up. Focus Trip Garand. Oh my gosh, it auto populates Focus Trip Garand Thumb. Amazing. All right, so now I have to find the transcript because you guys want to hear this. Can I see the description? Transcript. You guys want to hear this? You guys asked for it. It is. Yes. Oh no. It's in here. It's only an hour-long stream, so. Where is it? It's somewhere in here. Oh. Oh no. I found it, guys. You guys want to see this. All right. You guys are freaks. But that's okay. That's why you're here. Ready? You guys can hear this, surely. Right. Yeah, so this is going over again. This is Harambe Thumb, and that audio. Now, this is different audio.
Let me see your ass, darling. I really want to see it.
So this is different. Me and Old Focus are using the exact same face. The audio that, again, all of this stuff has allegedly been sent to Harambe Thumb, and then Harambe posts it on his reels and whatnot. Dugan! Hey, Dugan, while you're here, I need some sort of contact info so that I can actually talk to you. You know? I just see you pop up in live chats every now and again, and I'm like, hey, there's Dugan. Can't talk to him ever, but there he is. That is the one, Dugan Ashley. Sounds like an AI, maybe. Now, Harambe Thumb, and then this is different audio that, again, all of this stuff has allegedly been sent to Harambe Thumb, and then Harambe posts it on his reels and whatnot. Now, this was about the deleted divorce announcement post that was on his main Instagram. That is deleted off of his main Instagram, but it is still on his backup. And then, of course, a lot of people like me have it downloaded. Yeah. He says, I swear it's only to preserve my image, not because it was a complete lie. Oh, I that's definitely funny. Wasn't sending. This is the most watched part of the video as well. So where was it? 4131? Okay, so it's in like 5 seconds from now. Sorry, guys. One last time. And begging to see some ass in voice messages. Dad advice: when you're sneaking around on your wife using your main IG, if the other woman rejects you, block her fast, boss, and pray she doesn't have screenshots. Level of charisma or... Oh, dear. Moving on.
Let me see your ass, darling. I really want to see it.
Yeah, so that's enough of that. You guys get it. You guys get it. Reject Modernity says more Doug and Jonathan Picone. Absolutely. I think that would be fun to have on. Like, I'll be in Washington State with family. It might be fun to do like a end of 2024 review, what to look forward to in the new year, how to be apart from society, how to like be a man, how to like do all sorts, because we focus on a lot of negativity here, no pun intended, and it'd be cool to actually talk about like important things, you know, like setting yourself apart, trying to avoid all the evil out there in the world. I think that there's a good wholesome conversation to have. So Clayco says, yes, more Picone. Yeah, I just sent Picone a package today. So I think I'll be talking to him on and off. So, ooh, PSR needs to make that into a banger. Yeah, I think so. And Clay, like, we actually have to stream together at some point on something that is not Alpha Tactical Trigger Empire scam related. Right? We'd actually talk about like regular things, not just this over and over again. So, all right, gentlemen. I think that's it for tonight. 2.5 hours in. I do want to say, well, before we go, Merry Christmas to everyone. I will still be uploading videos throughout the break. I'll be in Washington till January 7th. Sorry. So I'll be gone for about 2 weeks. I might stream from Washington, but I won't film. I won't be recording anything. I'll just be hanging out with family. So there's videos still coming out that I've already filmed and I'm just editing right now. But other than that, yeah, I want to thank you guys for a great, excellent 2024. I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas time. I think that it's been a relatively good year. Lots of things happening, controversies here and there, but you know, I had a new kid this year. Ballistic Aviation says, yo, where are you going to be in a while? I'll be wherever you want. It's Southwest, so I'll be close to you. If you want to hang out, I'll hang out. Yeah, so you guys have a wonderful night. I hope you have a wonderful time with family this Christmas. And maybe if you need somebody to hang out with, just let me know. Maybe we'll do just a cozy hangout and chat about whatever you guys want. So this was my third. So I had Alex. He is 2 months old. Well, he's 3 months old on Wednesday. So that's my third. I got a 4-year-old Bruce, a 2-year-old Sarah, and a 0-year-old Alex. So got 2 strong young boys. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Oh, sorry. Bulge Deep says, you didn't have to read my filth. Love you, Focus. Well, I love you too. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. The support is all. You guys have been incredibly generous to me and my family. I quit my job like a month ago to do this sort of thing full time, and you guys have been incredibly supportive. So, yeah, 3 kids is really nice. So our other 2 kids are crazy. The baby's the one that has no maintenance. So I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. But if you want to stick around and listen to the outro, this is what I was gonna play in the intro, but decided to be nice. So you guys have a wonderful night. God bless.
You know, I saw a young man that looking to aspire. From Alex says, hey, you know, you said you got some influence. I said, no, I do. I'm the director of global operations at Army Futures Command, and I can help you out. I paid the $3,000 entry fee because Alex couldn't afford it. I mean, AJ's owed somewhere in the realm of $75,000. I'm owed, you know, $23,700. You know, my lifestyle hasn't changed. But Peter and Jackie's lifestyle out at Deeport, Texas, and Alpha Tactical, I'll tell you this, those 2 individuals really helped Alex out from the start.
I'm desperate. We were going to church food banks just to feed, you know, to eat. And he goes, oh, you know, I want to help you out and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, okay. Which I'm learning, though, in America, if someone says they want to help you, I said, right, you know, you owe me He owes me a lot of money. And I told him that. I said, mate, we've got no money for food. I said, I am broke. Oh, well, can you just do this for me? Can you just do that? I need another 10 triggers. I'm like, I don't have enough money for food. You want me to go out and buy fucking metal?
Yeah.
I said, I'm sorry, I've got kids here that need to eat. Me, you know? And I was just a gullible sucker.
They were buying triggers from, an unnamed place and having them drop shipped from another unnamed place, like nothing tied back to Alex.
This Alex guy continues to get more and more interesting.